Coming to you live here from Sun Moon Lake, a lake in Yuchi Township, Nantou County, Taiwan. It is the largest body of water in Taiwan. The area around the lake is home to the Thao people, one of Taiwan's indigenous ethnic groups. Sun Moon Lake surrounds a tiny island called Lalu, not to be confused with Lalo. The east side of the lake resembles a sun, while the west side resembles a moon. Okay, hence the name. We're here today with episode number 41. That's one more than 40. I am, of course, as always, didn't just wake up, your host, Yahoo of the Zahu, and with me today, being joined by La Granada de Mano que tiene un Devanecimiento enfermizo, like _VIP, and as always, we are ably produced by Tenji Konsola Kitore Ujiva Miski Naplachki Siana Daniove 16 Squad Senseki Kuro. How y'all doing?
What's up, Yak? What's up? It's great to be here. Great to be back once again with another PondCast. As you mentioned, your weekly dose of StarCraft 2 news and adjacent content as well. Oh boy, it's been quite a week already, Yaku. Another week, another GLHF interview. A lot more to get into.
Yeah. As always, as per usual, last week, when it come to the GLHF interviews, we had a very, very big one, and I gotta say, we're keeping it up here this time, as we're not quite having, the broadcast director of OGN, but still somebody who was absolutely instrumental to StarCraft 2 to the scene, and somebody who honestly makes StarCraft 2 a lot more unique as an esport compared to a lot of the other esports scenes out there. This week, we had TaKe himself, Dennis himself, talk a little bit about his time in StarCraft 2, the formation of Home Story Cup, and goals for the future, and just about everything. Best moments, etc.
Yeah, this is an interview that we were all waiting for, just because, of course, we knew that Zombie God was at Home Story Cup, was hosting all these interviews there, and of course, there had to be an interview with Dennis, with TaKe. It finally did occur, and yeah, it was definitely an interesting interview. They did kind of cover a lot of ground when it comes to, I guess, previous Home Story Cups and previous events, and a lot of really iconic moments. And it was really, really fun to see again, really nostalgic as well, going over Home Story Cup 20, Home Story Cup 10, recent Home Story Cups, the original Home Story Cups as well. And Dennis definitely had a lot of stories to tell when it comes to shenanigans that happened early on, like things that they had to pull off to try to make it work as well. It was really, really, really wholesome, really nostalgic to go down memory lane and go over all these events again.
Yeah, I think we all kind of had this idea in our heads that the original first couple of Home Story Cups were kind of put together a little bit impromptu, like a little bit improvised, if you will. This was before they really kind of knew what they were doing, but to hear the details behind all of that, to hear like, oh yeah, we literally just went down to a pub and asked, hey, can we show our stuff here? And they were like, yeah, okay. And all that going on. That this is stuff that I didn't really know about before, and I'm glad to have heard it now.
Yeah, it was really cool to hear some of those behind the scenes stories from TaKe, right, from the crew as well. It was definitely an interesting watch. I do definitely recommend it, just because it does go through all that kind of the big milestone events for the most part. He did have some discussion on Jeff, did have some discussion on the anniversary events as well.
Yeah.
It was really, really cool to hear from his perspective.
Yeah, now that you bring it up, that was a funny story about Jeff.
Uh-huh.
Hear that initially they were like, hey, let's invite Jeff as a player because he's not gonna make it far, but then after he gets knocked out, he can start casting.
Yeah, so that was after they had already. That was after the first casting.
The first time
Jeff
they
did.
invited him over, yeah.
Yeah. Like after they enjoyed like his commentary, they enjoyed his presence. They're like, we got to get this guy in. Okay, we'll get him as a player. Then he'll get knocked out, and then we'll and then we'll get him on the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it was like little things like that, right? That we would hear from. As you mentioned, when it came to the bar that was underneath Take's apartment, everyone knew that it was used, of course. But he mentioned how like the owner didn't really know anything about StarCraft, but was just really receptive and really willing to work
The
with
regular
Take.
clientele as well, like weren't really,
Hmm.
people. It wasn't a sports bar or anything. They weren't really into watching competitions, let alone esports tournaments and
Hmm.
stuff like that. But they were also having a good time. And I think
Yeah, exactly.
that happening early on might have kind of formed. I don't know. I feel like that might have been a little bit foundational when it comes to the
Hmm.
philosophy that Take has with Home Story Cup, and every Home
Yeah,
Story
for
Cup
sure.
that has happened since.
For sure, definitely. I will say that there was definitely a lot of teasing in this interview in the sense that I don't know if you noticed, but multiple times throughout the interview, he'd be asked about like, oh, what do you have to say about like MC, and he'd be like, oh yeah, well, like we recorded something a couple of months ago with him actually. We're never gonna release it, or like, oh, like what are your thoughts on Stefano? It's like, oh, like we actually met up like not too long ago either. Actually upstairs, and we recorded some stuff. We're never gonna release that either. We're not like this. There were
Too
like I would say like
unfiltered,
three
yeah.
times where that happened. I think they did it with he did it with partying as well, where yeah they would tease us with
Yeah.
never going to be released
I
content,
think
but
he was like
it
back in Home Story Cup 10, parting. We filmed something with him before his finals. He got drunk, and then we were never going to
uh
be releasing that.
yeah. So there was a lot of that going on, but regardless, still had a lot to say about the players themselves. Um, it was I will say that there were definitely some things that weren't asked, which I found was interesting. As in, it would have been interesting if they
Yeah.
were asked. Specifically, if you recall, obviously the interview doesn't go into his history with Warcraft 3, which is understandable
Right?
because it's a different RTS and this is meant to be focused on StarCraft. But I think he himself said that he used to compete in Brood War, right? He used to compete in Brood War,
Yeah.
and there were like a couple of lines here and there that were thrown out about it, but they never got into detail about his history with Brood War. And it would have been nice to have heard because that's a history that I've known nothing about when it comes to TaKe and his presence in Brood War back in the day.
Yeah, apparently he said something like he would compete a little bit. I mean, at lands and stuff like that. But Take himself said that he didn't really go too far back then. He wasn't super like back then. He wasn't super competitive, and for the most part, he was just going to lands and having fun and stuff like that. So yeah, I agree. That would have been cool to hear a little bit more from Take, and to maybe hear if some of his experiences early on going to all
Mhm.
these Brood War and Warcraft lands maybe had some influence with how he decides to run his events.
100%. And I understand that you don't want to ask too much about a different game, about Warcraft 3. But I think it would have been really good to have heard just the beginning of Take TV in a sense. Because by the time they start with his story, I want to say like one of the earliest things they talk about is the release of StarCraft 2. And Take has a story about how like apparently he was in the charge of the
Yeah.
official like midnight release in Germany. So like already it's established that he already is a presence in like the scene, right? Like he's a
Mhm.
distributor, he's like selling things. It sounds like maybe he had like a store or something. But like we don't get any backstory of that, right? Like that sounds interesting. That's like, hold up, like what, so you owned a store maybe? Like obviously before this you were doing other broadcasting stuff. He did talk about how he used to work at ESL and they allowed him to rent or to borrow some PC so he could stream at home.
Bring it
But
home,
even
yeah.
then, like it'd be nice to have heard like how he got into that position, how he got into that job, like what led him into going into ESL and esports. Like yeah, it feels that there were some gaps early on there that we didn't quite latch onto. We just had to kind of jump into it instead.
Yeah.
And I'm
Yeah, I
sure
get that
that
they
that
might have
all
been like,
exists somewhere, but
yeah.
mm,
I get that they might have been a little bit pressed for time here because this is Home Story Cup. This was at the most recent Home Story Cup, 20
yeah.
something, and
Mhm.
Dennis definitely in this one he was taking it upon himself. He did want to have more of a hosting role to it. So yeah, I
Mhm.
can definitely get that. I mean, this itself, I'm guessing was done kind of in between or during
Mhm.
games or something like that. So I kind of get that, but Yeah, I agree with you.
Mhm.
It would have been nice to see if we could have latched on a little bit more to some of these earlier points that were made.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, like just specifically the early points, because like once he gets into the home story cups themselves, like then that's all good. You know, he talks about some behind the scene tidbits about the origin of all the home story cups and some of the OG players. Like he had some fun stories about Todd, some fun stories about Rotterdam, talking about how like Rotterdam initially never wanted to cast, or like he
Yeah.
he kind of got bullied into
He was
casting, and
like, I
Rotterdam's
don't
like,
know
okay,
anything about this game. I just know Protoss, mate.
yeah. He's like, okay, I'll only cast Protoss games, and Dennis is like, yeah. You only cast Protoss games. Well, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Come here. Like, sits him down into like a ZVZ. It's like, goddamn. But like, it all worked out in the end. So,
It's like, yeah,
yeah.
you
Just
can just cast this PvP, and then it's like, oh, you know what? Why don't you stay on for the next one? It's going to be a PvT. And it's like, oh, why
mhm,
don't you stay on for the next one? It's going to be a TVT.
mhm. For sure, for sure. He spoke about like modern SE2 as well. It would have been a little bit nice to have heard his perspective on like modern Brood War. Like it feels like modern Brood War, specifically modern Warcraft 3, is also making a resurgence. I know that he currently, I think he still does a little bit of casting for Warcraft 3 Reforged events. Like he definitely has a passion for Warcraft 3. But when it comes to Brood War Remastered, it would have been a little bit nice to hear that as well, just because we know, right, like there are now some more lands, like international lands popping up for Brood War, and like the scene is slowly growing there as well. I don't know if TaKe has any plans or any intentions on dipping his toes into that at some point or not. Like, yeah. But regardless, it was definitely nice to kind of go down memory road through all these home story cups.
Yeah, I agree. Some of these home story cups that I wasn't around for back then, but yeah, always great moments to have for sure.
Mhm. For sure, for sure. So again, do check out the interview over on GLHF's YouTube channel. Again, Zombie Goblet did go to Europe for a lot of those interviews, and I believe there might still be some Korean interviews left over, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I
So
think
there's
there are like
still
four or
more.
five, a handful of Korean interviews and about a handful of
Yeah.
home story cup interviews left.
Yeah, there's more to come. For example, I don't think we've gotten a Rotterdam interview yet, so I'm sure that's going to be happening. And uh, I think Zanster was at the most recent Home Story Cup, so Zombie may have gotten like Zanster and some of these other guys. So yeah, a lot to look forward to.
I just remembered, yeah, all of the older names, older retired players coming back for the most recent
Yeah,
home story cup. Petit Drogo was there.
yeah, true. He was there. There were a lot of like crazy old faces there again. That reminds you of when TaKe was watching the old video here, and he was like, "Oh, Hassel still has hair." He's like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's been so long."
It's like, well, we were so young back then. I'm like,
uh, Smooch. Yeah, it's really great to see how far he's come and how far Take TV has grown as well as a company, doing other games, other esports, having their own venue as well. So
but
yeah,
still very
do
much kind of
recommend it.
retaining, but still very much retaining a lot of, I think, the similar spirit of just
Mm.
essentially a LAN party on steroids.
Exactly. You know, they never went full corporate on us, sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Like it was
Even
they're
even when
able
they
to.
partnered with ESL that one season,
Hmm. Yeah,
still felt
exactly. They
like
were
they
able
had
to.
more of their own thing going on.
For sure. It's important that they were able to keep that, and that's why there's so much love from the community for Take TV as well. From there, that leads us into our next bit of content on the horizon as well. Once again, we did get a video from Esports Storyteller. Previously, he would have more kind of like focused videos on players. This time, we did have a little bit more of a generalized video here going over the concept or the idea of speed and fast players and slow players throughout some of the early history of StarCraft 2.
Yeah, and I gotta be honest, like, when I first saw this video and when I first read the title, how the slowest StarCraft 2 players managed to succeed, I was like, okay, when you say
Uh,
slowest, do you mean like they're actually slow, or are you talking about like somebody like Pult, who was
mhm,
considered to be slow compared to the other Terran players, but still racked up like 200 APM on average?
mhm,
But no, I can
mhm.
assure you, these players that he is highlighting aren't. I mean, they're not super slow. They're not like 80 APM or anything like that, but yeah, they are very much. They were very much so on the lower side of APM.
Yeah. I mean, the video goes over what you would expect. Like he does spend a lot of time talking about like basically mech, like the mech style and mech play style, and how it is of course a lot slower. Talking about like Protoss all-ins, for example. But
Form
what I found a
hosts.
little bit so there was the time
Sure.
talking about Swarmhost as well. What I found a little bit more interesting, delving a little bit deeper into this video, and it's a relatively short video, is that he touched on the economy. I found it interesting just because that is a hot topic right now, where I think we discussed in weeks past, like Pig and like Day9 even stepping in, like
Oh, in-game economy,
suggesting,
yes.
yes, yeah,
The economy is a
suggesting
hot topic, and I'm like, but is it not?
suggest suggesting like changes to the in-game economy and suggesting like ways to shake it up just because of how the meta has unfolded. Basically in this video he touches on the fact that because of the economy changes coming into Legacy of the Void, it did force players to be faster, to be a lot more intense, to be a lot more micro intensive as well at times, and because of that a lot of these slower styles, like they died off transitioning from Heart of the Swarm into Legacy of the Void. A lot of that kind of like fell by the wayside, and I just found it interesting to kind of to hear that perspective, considering right now there is like a lot of discussion about people potentially wanting or at least wanting to explore the idea of changing the economy
Yeah, having maybe
and
a slower
shifting things.
start to the game,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
not even slow start, but just like maybe having more minerals for each base or something like that. And yeah, I
Hmm.
don't think I can really disagree with that. I don't think I can really disagree with the assertion that
Hmm.
Legacy of the Void did make things faster, and that did kind of disincentivize slower styles like mech and slower styles like, well, I say slower styles like mech and slower styles like Skytoss. I mean, Skytoss, you can still get away with it, but I think the difference is that to get to Skytoss nowadays, you do still have to kind of go through that fire in a way, right? You still do need to survive the early game, and that does require you to react a little bit quicker and control your units a little bit better and stuff like that. And similar thing with mech, you can absolutely still do mech, but battle mech, the version of mech that is a lot more mobile, is not only way more effective, but even
Hmm.
if you want to do slow style siege mech, at least at the top levels, you still need to go through battle mech to get to that point.
For sure, for sure. When it comes to Protoss, like again, this video mainly focuses on all-ins and micro-intensive styles, and that is something that also is rarely a thing nowadays. Is all-ins in general, like they have also fallen by the
Yeah.
wayside just because it's easier to get into greater economies and stuff like that. That is one of the big things that people are pushing for, why they want a slower economy back again in StarCraft 2, because it does give you more time to make decisions to go for earlier timing attacks. And there's definitely a push for some people wanting that to return. They want more early game options. They want more aggressive starts. One of the big criticisms is in some matchups, not in all matchups. I would say that I think right now TVP is in a good place. There's like a lot of options for a lot of players with how they want to open and how they want to build. But for some of the other matchups like ZVP and ZVT, a lot of the early game is very one note. Like it's very samey. Like there's not a lot of variation. There's not a lot of creativity that's able to really flourish in those matchups right now. And a lot of people they want to shake that up a little bit. Whether or not the economy changes would do that or not is yet to really be fully determined. But yeah, it's just something related to this video that like people have been talking about recently.
Yeah. Somebody would have to test it out, I think, on like a modded version. Or
Yeah,
like a
yeah,
modded
and I
version of
mean,
the game.
yeah, and I mean, shout out to Pig, like he's been actively
Yeah.
trying to do that, right? And even then, like it's just difficult just because like you don't have a lot of like data, right? You like sure you
Mhm.
can get a couple of games, but like is that really fully indicative of what's going on? And it's just hard to commit to a change like that just because it's a big change, like to change the economy. It sounds like a big deal. So you'd probably need like a lot of like supporting evidence behind it to try to push for something like that, regarding like the Balance Council and things of that nature. So yeah, it's definitely quite an initiative, and I don't really know where I fall upon. Like I just haven't seen much of it. Like when it comes to like lower economies, like I haven't seen much of how it changes. But yeah, it's just an interesting thing to discuss, interesting thing to bring up.
So what you're saying is for the next STC. We need to have it on the modded version, the 6 worker start version. Test it out.
Oh no. Oh no. True, true. You know, bring it all back on our open cups. Exactly. Yeah, shout out to esports storyteller for for making a video like this. Again, a little bit different, not hyper specific on one player, a little bit more general, and it was well put together.
Yeah. I also kind of like the closing statement or the closing argument that he kind of made, because it is true what he said in the opening. What he said in the opening, where people will watch StarCraft 2, or people will watch somebody playing StarCraft 2, and then they'll see the and they'll be like, "I'm good. I don't need to get into that." But yeah, I do appreciate that towards the end he did say, "Yeah, speed it's good to have, especially in the later, especially on the higher levels. But you know, your macro, your decision making, especially." Making sure that you get your upgrades on time, things like that, way more valuable as you're getting into when you're getting into the game itself.
Yeah, for sure. It can I guess be like a little bit of a spicy discussion, I suppose, and I'm sure that's what he's trying to spark as well. Just because this can also be used to kind of like push either narrative sort of thing. I did notice in the comment section, like there are a bunch of people being like, yes, exactly, like pro players, like when they play fast, they're just spamming, they're not really doing anything with their APM. Like you can get away with like 100 APM and be like a pro player. And these are some of these comments that like I would say are baseless for the most part. It's like only true in the early game. When it comes to like pro players, like they do a lot of spamming in the early game, but like if you watch their POV, like mid and especially mid to late game, like they're not wasting actions. Like that's all.
Yeah,
I would say intentional.
That's exactly what it is. It's you might see all the spamming when you're still making your supply depot, or when you're still in the early game itself. But that's, I mean, it feels like almost a cliche to say this at this point, but it is 100% true. That is a warm up. If you don't do all that spamming in the early game, when you get into the mid and the late game, when you do need to use all those actions, when you do need to control 2 different groups of armies, when you do need to utilize all these spellcasters or anything, you're not going to be able to do those in time if you don't warm up by spamming in the early game.
Yeah. It's about keeping up that rhythm, right? That rhythm throughout the game, so it becomes more easy to get into that sort of thing. It's one of those things where like there is truth to that in the early game, but people like extrapolate, and especially if they want to push that narrative, they'll be like, yeah, it's like that all the time, when that isn't the case and that isn't true. So yeah, just be careful out there when it comes to seeing any kind of discussions about that. Yeah.
I mean, that's just good general advice. Be careful in the YouTube comments.
There you go. So shout out to esports storyteller. That also leads us into our next big piece of news here. Last week we were discussing quite a lot about these new things being done with the StarCraft IP, specifically the new plushies that were released that are now on sale to be ordered, and also the miniatures board game as well. But now we've heard and we've also confirmed said rumors that there are also talks when it comes to kind of selling or selling and
or
bidding,
potentially partnering, but more likely selling.
Selling partnering is maybe a better word. Partnering to kind of lend the StarCraft 2 IP to other game developers and publishers.
I want to say that Wax specifically clarified that it sounds like a licensing deal from the way they phrased it. So just to be clear.
Yeah, more like a partnership as opposed to completely selling off the IPs itself, which kind of makes sense here. As I mean, I guess we can go over the article here. It was reported by Asia Today, and then a bunch of other different outlets kind of followed suit, sourcing the Asia Today article itself, using the Asia Today article as your source. And yeah, from what we've seen here, it's 4 Korean companies flying down to Activision Blizzard headquarters to kind of pitch what they would do with the IP, and something that I think makes sense here is that in the article itself, they emphasize that none of these companies are looking to make an RTS or have ever made an RTS. So most likely it's going to be not StarCraft 3, or not even the spiritual successor to StarCraft 3, but just a different game in a different genre set in the StarCraft universe.
Yeah, I think it's important to point that out. A lot of people that hear this news don't read the article. A lot of them just make their own assumptions. And already, like, once this was announced, like, people were jumping on it like, oh, does that mean, like, is another company going to take over and make, like, a StarCraft 3? It's like, the answer is no. That is not the case. Yeah. As you mentioned, a lot of these game developers and publishers have no experience with that sort of thing. And based on the developers that were actually involved, it is most likely, I would say, leaning towards something like a Korean MMO or like a mobile game sort of thing. Yep. They do have a track record in some of these other kind of these other categories of games as well, genres.
I think those are the two that are going to be the most likely. The one thing that gives me like a little bit of maybe copium in a sense is that one of the companies that pitched to Blizzard was Nexon, and obviously, in the article here, they said, yes, Nexon has created successful global titles in various genres. When I think of Nexon, I think of the Korean Counter-Strike clone, and I'm like, StarCraft Ghost?
Yeah, you think of Sudden Attack. It's true. When I think of Nexon, I think of... When I think of Nexon, I think of Maple Story, because they're also behind Maple Story.
They did do that, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah. Like, Nexon, they do a lot, to be fair. They do a lot.
Micro
a lot of it's very...
fever. You think Valve or Zynga is bad with that? You people have never played Maple Story.
Yeah, they do Maple Story. Sudden Attack, which is the CS:GO clone. They do DFO, Dungeon Fighter Online. That's like another pseudo like side-scrolling like MMO sort of game, similar to Maple Story actually. They do Kart Rider.
They do a lot of side-scrolling RPGs, don't they?
They do. And what I will say, as someone that enjoys playing video games, this isn't necessarily a negative thing or a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure a lot of people want another RTS for sure, but I don't think it's a negative thing to maybe get, like, as you said, like a side-scrolling RPG of StarCraft or like some kind of FPS or something.
You open up the franchise, you open up the universe to other fans who, I mean, let's face it, RTS is pretty niche nowadays, but the hope is, if you open this up to people who like playing FPS games or people who like playing RPGs, that might spark a little bit more interest in the franchise itself, and it may spark Blizzard into being like, okay, maybe we should do something with this IP now.
Yeah, for sure. And there's already rumors as well. If you recall, at the start of the year, there were discussions about how like there's a StarCraft RTS that's in the works. This is more recent than any kind of like ghost news. Like this is from like last year or this year. But to caveat that, if you recall, this was the case. I want to say it was in 2024. But there's no confirmation of if the game is still in production or if it got like canceled or if it got reworked. Like that there's no confirmation of that at least. But as you mentioned, like I do think it's like a positive thing, and yeah, I mean, again, I'd be more than happy to try out a different kind of StarCraft game, and I'm sure I'd enjoy it as well. Like I'm a fan of not just the RTS, but also the StarCraft universe, StarCraft world.
Yeah, I would as well. My main concern is, again, going back to Maple Story.
Yeah,
I would like another game. I'm hoping that it's a good game. It's a game that I don't have to spend like $50,000 to keep up with everyone else in.
Yeah. Like, I think we should also emphasize, when we say MMO, we should say Korean MMO, and Korean MMOs are notorious for being very grindy and very microtransaction-y as well. We had the publisher of Lineage step in. Lineage also very grindy, Korean MMO. Maple Story as well, very grindy. DFO as well. This is a certain like subgenre of MMO from the Korean side that do have their own style, and I probably don't want a StarCraft 2 Korean MMO, but there are like other things that they could do with it as well.
StarCraft Immortal.
Let's go.
Or it wouldn't be called Immortal. It would be like Xel'Naga or something.
Yeah.
StarCraft. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. We'll see. Again, we don't. Again, it does sound
Clash
like
of Clans clone. Let's go. It's like, hey, we heard you like base building, right? We heard StarCraft is all about base building.
I think another thing to bear in mind as well when it comes to this is that most likely we won't actually get anything from this for another couple of years. Of course, game development takes a long time, so if the licensing deal goes through this year, for example, don't expect anything for like another at least three to 5-ish years, maybe even more than that, when it comes to when we would actually get a game like that. Like again, game production takes quite some time to really get going.
Yeah. I think like Diablo Immortal, for instance. When was that announced? Like 2019 or something like that? Or no, I'm not thinking about when Diablo Immortal was announced, but rather when the news broke out that Blizzard was partnering with like a mobile game company to make a mobile game. What was that, like 2015, 2016?
Yeah, and it took years for it to actually release. Yeah.
And then it took years. It took like 3 years for them to announce that they were doing it, and then it took another 3 years for the game to actually release.
Yeah, for sure. So, it takes time. You got to be patient or something like that to see if something good comes of that, of course, as well. So, yeah, definitely interesting news coming out from the Korean side of things. Likewise, that leads us into a couple of map updates that we've had as well. Shout out to Patches, of course. Patches is a map maker, the map maker behind Persephone. Persephone has been very popular amongst all the online tournaments, amongst players as well. I would say that if we do get a new like season, a new revamped map pool for our tournaments, for like official ESL events, I feel like Persephone is probably going to be one of them. And it looks like he has been working on it and adjusting it and taking some feedback and making some changes here to the map.
Yes, already first one, most important one, improved lighting.
Let's go.
Absolutely necessary. Thank you. I wonder if there's going to be lens flare. I hope so, but overall, the original Persephone I felt was a little dark and was a little bit. Not only was it a little bit dark, but like there wasn't enough contrast. I felt between like high ground, low ground, and things like that. So yeah, I can see it already here from the screenshot. Big improvement.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, the changes to lighting, changes to some of the decor, changing to some of the paints, or some of the, again, a lot of visual changes. But it looks like there was one quote unquote like balance change to the map itself. Apparently nerfed tank spots, notably behind the forward base next to the speed zones. So yeah, I wasn't too familiar with that. But yeah, it looks like there has been a slight alteration when it comes to the map itself.
And it's one of those things, right, where it's like, oh yeah, we fixed this issue. And I was like, that was an issue? That was a thing that I could have exploited this entire time?
No. True. So yeah, shout out to Patches, of course, for making those adjustments. Again, a lot of map makers have a lot of care for their maps, and they try to take feedback wherever they can. So really cool to see. Shout out to Patches. Speaking of maps, something that I'm very excited by here is that we do have some StarCraft Evolution map updates, and I actually already casted on one of these maps. I was shocked to see it. I was pleasantly surprised. We do have these new maps that have been ported over from Brood War. We have R Point and Blue Storm.
Indeed, we do. Updated, ported, and yeah, it looks pretty great. R Point, of course. I think as most people know it as the Shuriken map.
Yep. There you go. We have R Point. For me, Blue Storm was huge. I actually casted on it earlier today, and I was shocked to see it because I was like, wait, Blue Storm? When did this get ported over? Apparently it's a new one. Shout out to Avex, shout out to Hyper One and all those working behind the scenes. Blue Storm, my history of Blue Storm is that Blue Storm was in the tournament map pool for the first season of the SSL like Brutal Remastered League that they hosted, the Challenger League. So as soon as I saw it, I was like, wait, I've actually watched Brutal on this. Like, what's going on? So yeah, one of the more like quote unquote modern maps, and yeah, it was really cool to see again, and a blast from the past. So the nostalgia, Papi, the nostalgia.
Yeah, I remember looking at this and I was like, wait, isn't this one of the campaign maps? And not quite, but may have taken a little bit of inspiration.
It's blue.
It's blue. It's a storm.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Exactly. So yeah, it's really cool to see that again the people working behind the scenes at on StarCraft Evolution, like they're actively like trying to update the maps and keep some fresh map pools going and stuff like that. Not just patching the game, but also adding maps as well. When we say adding maps, of course, a lot of the work has been putting into porting maps. I don't think they've yet to make like a unique map just for StarCraft Evolution. I don't think they've done that yet. That's going to be a big endeavor if they ever do. Right now, there's a lot of just porting over and just transferring Brood War maps into StarCraft 2.
Yeah, making sure that it all, makes sense and works.
For sure. So really cool to see. Speaking of StarCraft Evolution, that leads us into our first set of tournaments. That leads us into the 2025 Kung Fu Cup number 4.
Well, I say light on news. That Blizzard pitch was pretty big, but also barely any details yet. So to report.
Yeah. It's like a lot of news, but like there's not too much detail. So like there's not too much discussion to be had, right?
Yeah. For now.
Wait
till we check back in on PondCast episode 400.
Oh.
Where we follow up on that.
True. Yeah. That'll be the update. Yeah, we'll link it back to this. We'll do that. We'll remember to do that.
I was gonna say, we'll remember. You're putting a lot of faith in our memory.
We'll be fine.
In our brain RAM.
Exactly. But that leads us into our first event. Again, the Kung Fu Cup number 4 StarCraft Evolution Edition. Once again, as a reminder, the Kung Fu Cup is back. Kung Fu Cup has returned, and they are alternating. They're alternating between Warcraft 3 Evolution and StarCraft Evolution from week to week.
Indeed, they are. And this week, it was, Kung Fu Cup. StarCraft Evolution is what I was meant to say.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. And go on.
Yeah, no, I was going to say, for the most part, a lot of the familiar suspects, or the usual suspects, signing up to this. One surprise for me, though, was, because I was assuming that he'd be in the military by now, Dark. Actually playing this semis.
Yeah, so we should reiterate that this event did occur back in a couple of weeks ago. This was a couple of weeks ago here. Just now talking about it, just because we did actually have our broadcast of it. So this was before the farewell show match that we had. So this is a little bit further back. But yeah, it was really cool to see this event. And I think what I'm most curious by is the format. The format is different to what we're used to. In regular StarCraft Evolution tournaments, usually it's losers pick. Like it's Brood War versus SC2, it's losers pick. But for Kung Fu Cup, they have a different format. They force Brood War SC2, then SC2 Brood War. Like they force the players to alternate. And in the finals, they actually force Brood War versus Brood War and SC2 versus SC2 in Game 3 and Game 4.
Yeah, they do. For ace matches, it says free to choose, and it's like, wait, what? Turns out what that means is you can pick. Yeah, you can pick whatever you want. You can play SC2 v SC2. You can play SC2 v Brood War. You can do any sort of format that you want.
Yeah. So it's a very different format. And originally, I wasn't too fond of the idea of having like an SC2 versus SC2 matchup. And on top of that, we both know as well that the mod is not balanced for Brood War versus Brood War. So like there can be some balance issues there potentially. But I will say those are some of the most fun games. Getting into the finals.
Brood War v Brood War?
Yeah, the Brood War versus Brood War. That was actually the longest game of the broadcast. Like there was, it was on Amygdala, and it was mech versus like a heavy gateway composition, right? Basically, so talking about the games themselves, Classic, of course, Classic, I would say the best Protoss player in StarCraft Evolution. Spirit, I would say the best Terran player in StarCraft Evolution. So they both had some really strong performances, really strong run. We had Spirit trying to, like, in a sense, like turtle and get into his own mech. We had Classic diving in and trying to break him time and time again, going in with charge-outs, going in with Storm, something you don't see too often. Yaku, you know how solid the Storm animation looks, and it hits a little bit different from the side of Brood War. Mate, the amount of tanks I saw killed from Storm was crazy. Like real damage as well. It was crazy. Like, yeah, it was a crazy back and forth on Amygdala, and yeah, it was one of the highlights of the broadcast, to be honest.
It's like something that you would say, the way you're describing it, when you say, oh yeah, it was Mech versus Gateway, it was versus Swarm Toss. if you're very used to StarCraft 2 like I am, then you're like, oh yeah, Protoss just rolls over back in that case. Not the case in Brute War, and not the case in SC Evolution Brute War.
Yeah, exactly. Like Mech is a lot more well-rounded, right? In StarCraft Evolution, Brood War, and we had a really big back and forth there. And when it comes to the SC2 versus SC2, what I loved about Game 4 was it was on a Brood War map. That was what I appreciated the most out of that. I think I'd be feeling less about it if it was on a standard ladder map, but they did play on Return of the King, so that had a really unique dynamic. Seeing SC2 races, SC2 players face off on a very different kind of map that has its own kind of like mantra, or has its own like kind of way of approaching the game. Yeah, exactly. It was crazy. And Spirit did cheese on it. He did cheese. But he did Proxy Marauder. But it didn't work. The game continued and we got into a macro game. Like that's what Yeah, so yeah, it was just really refreshing to see that dynamic, and it makes me excited for more, 100%.
Yeah, hopefully we get to see a couple on R0 or Frost Storm.
Yeah, for
Frost
sure.
Storm,
for sure.
Blue Storm.
Yeah, Blue Storm. But yeah, when it comes to the event itself, congratulations to Classic. Classic does take the win in the end. It was a very close finals against Spirit. Again, both looking very strong in StarCraft Evolution. Shout out to Dark. Dark, as you mentioned, also had a good run. What I will say is that Dark, he was hard countered by Classic. Like, apparently, I think Hyper One was watching at the time. He was letting us know that, we know this as well. Dark and Classic, they play quite often in this game mode. And yeah, it felt like Dark was trying to go to his own like old tricks, and Classic was just hard countering time and time again. What I'm referring to is, especially on Amygdala, Classic went for a Robo Reaver drop opener, and Dark he scouted, right? Like Dark he scouted the Robo. He was getting ready for Reaver drop, so he went blindly into like 2-base Muta. He went 2-base Muta to hunt down the shuttle, to hunt down the Reavers. What was really crazy here is that Classic, he knew that he got scouted. Classic, he didn't even see what his opponent was doing. He didn't see like Dark's lair timing or anything. Classic, he just blindly went double Stargate behind that Reaver, double Stargate Mass Corsair. so when the Muta showed up to hunt down the Reavers, mate, there were Corsairs already waiting for him. Like it was some of the like biggest like mind games and hard counters that I've ever seen from Classic. Like both game 1 and game 2, like Classic was just all over Dark. It was crazy.
Well, you have to expect this sort of stuff from Classic, right? I mean, there's a reason why he has that chin. Because extension, it supports the brain.
It does.
The massive brain.
Oh my god. So with that, congratulations to Classic. Again, shout out to all the top players here, Spirit, but I thought Dark as well. And yeah, I look forward to seeing some more of this. Again, it isn't just StarCraft Evolution, but they have their own unique format, and it leads to some unique scenarios. One quick thing that I will add as well, something that makes the SC Boy admin team complete animals. Usually in a map pool, for StarCraft Evolution, you'd only have like one island map. Here, they have both. They have both island maps, and they were both featured in the finals as well. Exactly. It's crazy. So I recommend it. Recommend tuning in.
Oh, so we have Paradox, and we had Sylphid?
Neo House of Siren.
Oh yeah, I guess that is a kind of an island map.
Yeah.
It's an island map, except your island has like 3 bases in it.
Yes, it has 4. It has 4 bases.
It has 4?
Yeah.
I can count. Can I count?
The 4th one is a little bit more isolated, but you only gain access from the main. Like from the main, basically, it like snakes all the way around.
Oh, I
to the
see
middle.
it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can float it over.
True. You can. So, I do recommend checking it out. Speaking of StarCraft Evolution, that leads us into the very first StarCraft Evolution Code A number 1. This is a new initiative that Hyper One has begun here. It is an event that is limited to players at 5.6 or 5.7k MMR, depending on the region, and below.
Yeah, you also cannot have made finished in certain positions in whatever regions. So if you made it to GSL Code S, top 16 of DreamHack Masters EU, things like that, you cannot, between 2020 and 2025, you will be ineligible for this particular tournament. And before really getting into anything, can I just say, I think it's really, there's something really, I guess, uplifting to see that there is enough interest in StarCraft Evolution that we can have a Code A, and that we can have, kind of a semi-professional level tournament and have a lot of signups for it too.
Yeah. I'll be honest. I was a little bit shaky when it comes to what would be like what the signups would be, as you mentioned, right? It's like I wasn't too certain like what the turnout would look like, but honestly, we had a full bracket. Like it was really cool to see the interest in this. It's also like as you mentioned, like just a really good way to foster up and coming talent. Just because right now there is a clear hierarchy of top players in StarCraft Evolution, and we expect them to. It's almost like the Clem Maru thing, right? Like we expect classic, dark, skillless, spirit. Like we expect these guys to face off in the semis and finals every single week, every single time.
That's what you meant, because when you said it's a Clem Maru thing, I'm like, everybody's gonna switch to Protoss.
Sorry, I meant to say Clem Max thing, where it's the same players in the finals as well. My bad. But yeah, it's something very similar where you don't get too much variation when it comes to like the top players in those tournaments. So this is a good way to kind of like exclude those players and to give the other up and coming players like an opportunity to earn money and to compete and to face off against each other.
Yeah. And definitely a couple of familiar faces here, a couple of people who I think we do see sign up pretty often for the SC Evolution monthly and a couple of the other like SC Evolution bi-weeklies. I mean, specifically I'm thinking of Prom, who is quite active in all this stuff, Ledlix as well, who I actually don't remember how active he is in SC Evolution specifically, but we see him all the time in online events and OSC events and stuff like that. You, who's played in a lot of our tournaments. You, not to be confused with me, not to be confused with I gotta be honest, I got confused when I read the notable participant though. I was like, you played as Root or Terra. I'm like, how do they know? The cookies are getting the cookies. I gotta turn it off. I was like, oh wait, that's the name of a player.
Yeah, we had Quantel, the return of Quantel. Like that's a name that we rarely see nowadays. So great to see his return here and some interest in Brood War. We had Kot as well from Hong Kong. So yeah, some really cool to see some of these players that don't often get to see the limelight. So yeah, it was a really fun event, is what I will say. Just a quick recap here. Kot, he cheesed the hell out of everyone and made it to the finals. There were a lot of 12 pool drone pools, roach all-ins. Like Colt was hyper cheesy and he cheesed the hell out of almost everyone. Met his match in the finals, so shout out to Prome, a little more of a solo player. As you can see here, Prome did stumble in the PvPs. In the PvPs, we did have some back and forth there against some of the other players, but in the finals, it was a little more dominant, is what I will say. So congratulations to Prome, and look forward to seeing more of these events in the future to feature all these guys, right? To feature TaKe, Zardian, Starat, DeWalt as well. DeWalt, I believe he's a Brutal Pro, by the way. So yeah, really cool to see them all come together.
Yeah, I look forward to more of these. SEL Code A number 2 already planned, already in the works. Going to be happening about a week from now, give or take.
Yes, exactly. As this is a monthly tournament, not a weekly, so we will be catching up with the next event. Speaking of StarCraft Evolution League, that leads us into the SEL King of the Hill number 2. We did feature our first one last time. This is also a monthly tournament, once again featuring another 10 best of ones.
Indeed, and I gotta tell you, Light, as somebody who's used to looking at a lot of OSC King of the Hill events and seeing the crown switch hands over and over and over again, I was not prepared to look at this bracket and to look at just how blue it is here, as only 2 players managed to win matches. Rumiev beat Hammono and beat Uface in the first 2 matches, but then met his match. Immediately afterwards, Bjorn knocked him out, and Bjorn just continued to go on an absolute tear, winning the next 6 matches afterwards and leaving as the undisputed king of the hill this week.
Oh yeah, exactly. Bjorn, he did pop off. Bjorn he has been enjoying his time in StarCraft Evolution. I will say that he's still, kind of like building himself up and still leveling up as a player, but clearly, like, he definitely has his own builds down, and he's still solid enough to take all these best of ones and be the king of the hill for this month. So really, really solid performance there by Bjorn. Fun fact: after the events, I did ask him. I was like, "Yo, when are we seeing some of the other big Korean boys? Like, what's happening with Maru? What's happening with Creator?" Bjorn did say that Maru, he likes his rest. Like, he likes his rest and he's taking some time off. But he said that he was going to try to get Creator involved for maybe some future SELs. So, yeah, he's definitely got some. Yes, exactly. The Mountain Boys, they're going to fight for being the king of the hill.
Exactly.
Guys, I think we should get through into this.
No.
How many queens?
It would be fun. For sure. So yeah, it was really strong dominant performance there by Bjorn. I want to say that Def Mars maybe was it Def Mars or Zardians? But one of them had a really strong performance against Bjorn. What do we have?
It was Zardians. It was players.
Yeah, it was Zardian on Vermeer. Basically, Bjorn, for every single one of these TVPs, Bjorn, he went for 3x stim. He went for a 3x stim timing, and would often end the game with that timing as well. Zardian, he did hard counter by going Robo into Colossus, so a Colossus-based opener, which we see in StarCraft 2, or we used to, when that was more meta, when Cure was, meta, with his own 3x build. But so he had a really strong showing. He had a really good chance. In the end, Bjorn did still take it, but Zardian he had a good performance.
I like the implication there that Cure is responsible for the TVP meta in a way. It's like, yeah, we don't see Colossus too often as an opener. I wonder why. Oh, it's because Cure stopped doing 3 racks all the time.
That is the implication. Yes, that. God damn. We should get Cure. Yo, Cure. He would like this. He'd be like, "Yo, 3x is viable again. Let's go. Let's." God damn it. Yeah. When I saw Bjorn here playing tonight in King of the Hill, I was thinking of Cure. He was harnessing his inner Cure. 100%. So with that, congratulations to Bjorn, shout out to Remith and all the other competitors here. And again, this is just another fun format, just a bunch of best of ones, and will once again be kind of a more regular event for the under the StarCraft Evolution brand. Yeah.
So look forward to more of those. Next one's going to be happening sometime this month. Yeah, sometime this month.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Happy the next one. Up next, we have an event that I haven't actually caught up to date with, but I want to find out what happened. Up next is the Chijik StarCraft 1 versus SC2 showdown. As a reminder, this is a streamer showdown here, and one of our own, Crank, was involved in this. What happened? Oh my god.
That's what we want to know, yeah.
The context for this, Crank was on Team VTuber. That was the problem.
Yep. I was gonna say, you need any more details on that? I mean, it's pretty clear cut.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he was on Team VTuber, and it looks like they had 3 days. So 3 days of events. It looks like day 1 did go the way of Team A of Crank and JYP's team. Crank took down Killian, and not bad. JYP took down Nada. So the coaches, like the headliners, in day 1 did pull a lot of weight. Oh, they even had some 2v2s as well.
Oh yeah, I see that now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Quite a few.
There we go. So yeah, so far, so day 1 they did well for themselves. I cannot say the same for day 2 though. Oh my god, because I don't know what happened. But day 2 was a bit of a more dominant performance from Team B. I'm not gonna lie, I do want to try to tune into these VODs for sure. Like I want to try to check them out and check out the VODs just because. Who was actually right? You said Castor Park was covering this event, right?
Yeah. Castle Park, along with Gizado and Hiki. So pretty much the whatchamacallit, the Ompong boys.
Yeah, so it looks like it looks like it was Pro League format. So Team A won day 1, Team B won day 2. So shout out to Team B for being able to bounce back, and then it went all the way to the ace match, which did barely go the way of Team B. GG.
Yeah. It came down to I ended up looking up these people and can confirm was VTuber versus normal person. So
yeah, that was a given. That was God damn it.
Normal person won.
So, yeah, there we go. So confirmed, regular people greater than VTubers and anime waifus. Confirmed.
Yeah.
At least in StarCraft. So again, it was very bittersweet for me watching this, because on the one hand I wanted to cheer for Crank, on the other hand I had a really hard time cheering for VTubers. But you know what? In the end, all is right in the world, and we'll see if they do more of this. I'm not really too familiar with what the stats were, with how popular this was, but usually these kind of streamer showdowns, they do get a lot of viewership just because all the audiences want to tune in and want to watch. So this might be the beginning of potentially a series. We might see more of this in the future.
Yeah, more Chisuk showdowns, if you will, featuring different people. I have to wonder if Crank has learned his lesson this time. If he'll still coach or captain the VTubers.
Yeah, I hope that he makes like some YouTube videos of this. Like I want to watch like his POV, like if he's like screaming at his teammates, or if he's or how he's coaching them and stuff. Like I would love to see how this all went down. I'm sure there's a lot of chaos involved as well.
Oh yeah, especially with JYP in there.
For
JYP being casted by his former casting partners.
True. Yeah. It's an interesting dynamic. So congratulations to Nada, Top, alongside their team as well, for coming out, for winning the show match. And yeah, if there's ever another one, we'll be sure to tune into it.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if Chisuk works. Sure. As a reminder, the VODs are only available on Chisuk right now.
Yes, we'll see if they ever become available on YouTube or on other platforms.
Yeah.
That leads us into our next event. Up next is going to be the Jungle Games number 2. I think we did mention this last time, but this is a more unique FFA format, where it is FFAs, that is true, so you get 8 players stepping into the ring, or sometimes even more than that, but there are massive neutral creeps. I don't know if you've heard of the Jungle Games before, Yaku.
I have not, can't confirm.
Okay, but basically there is a giant ultra called Freddy. There's a massive ultra called Freddy. Okay. Yes, and he roams in between the bases. It's a maze. It's a jungle maze. There's a lot of just scattered around bases, and everyone's just scattered throughout. There's a massive marauding ultra, and he does actually sometimes wander into enemy bases, and he can mess you up.
Can you?
The thing with it though. The thing with you can. It takes a lot, and you probably need you do need a max out army to bring him down, but it is possible. His HP also regens, so after a fight he'll regen his HP. But he also has like an appetite meter. So early on, once he kills a couple of units, he's satiated, then he runs away. Right, so he can come in, he'll pick off like a couple units, and he'll back off, right? But as the game progresses, his appetite gets larger, so he's more willing to commit to a fight, basically. So that's also like an X factor that gets involved. So yeah, there's that. Also, if he dies, you do get resources for it, and then another creep spawns, a massive muta called Lily. So she spawns in, and she just does like bombing runs throughout the entire map. It's crazy. And then when she dies, then her like children spawn in, and then after they die, if it gets to like an hour mark, then the map starts closing in, because like a bunch of like ravagers and stuff spawn, and they start destroying the edge of the map, kind of like a battle royale sort of thing. And then it closes the entire map. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun, but it's a big commitment.
How do you win this exactly?
Well, it's an FFA, so you just kill everyone.
Just live. All right, just live as
Yeah.
long as you.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. It's like a battle royale sort of thing. With I guess you have to be the last one standing. You have to kill everyone. And basically the purpose of the creeps is to disincentivize turtling, right? Because like
Right.
the map itself is
They'll
working
break
against
into your base. They'll break your turtle. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you ever see people ally up to take out the creeps?
You do see a lot of alliances, not necessarily to kill creeps, but to just kill people. There's as it always is
We've
with like
learned
FFAs.
nothing from what you would call it.
No. Exactly. But yeah, like a lot of it is just like alliances, like people, making deals, about teaming up or even like backstabbing each other as well. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Just one game per round sort of thing. But they last a long time. These are like hour-plus long FFAs. Like it's crazy like how far this can go.
Yeah.
But
hey, it sounds like
yeah.
a commitment. Yeah.
For sure. In the end, Hydra did win his match, and likewise, Bonan won his match as well. And again, like a lot of it comes down to, even if you have like these otherwise favored players stepping into the ring in an FFA, anything can happen. And yeah, this is just a more fun format. I believe the mod is actively being worked upon. I believe Patches made the mod.
A little bit of RNG, but it's some things.
Yeah. For sure. But definitely a lot of fun and definitely worth checking out. I'm sure, especially because Pig has been covering these events, I'm sure they've gained popularity on the arcade. So you can just find a lobby there, find other people, and then jump into the jungle maze.
Yeah, it sounds a bit like Arrogant Survival.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. I mean, there's no one controlling Freddy, but sure. I can see that. Yeah.
Well, imagine if there was, though.
Oh, let's go.
Imagine you have one player who controls the creeps.
Mm-hmm.
I also just realized you have Zerg creeps, but you also have Zerg players? How do you tell them apart?
I mean, they look. I mean, it's a big ultra. It's like it's massive. It's massive. Yeah.
It's
how big we talking?
Ultra. We're talking about the big ultra.
But how big we talking?
Big.
And the size is bigger than your Nexus.
But how big we talking?
It's bigger than your buildings.
I mean, that's how big ultras used to be before the patch. Ultras used to be big boys.
Nah, you ain't seen nothing yet, Yaku. You ain't seen
mutas.
No.
They used to be big.
Yeah, is massive. So yeah, so with that, congratulations, shout out to Bonan and Hydra, and we'll see if Pig continues to host this. Again, I believe the mod is being worked upon, and they're kind of iterating and working on it over time, so I'm sure they're getting feedback and they're going to be adding stuff. What I will say is that despite the creeps trying to deter total play, there are certain locations on the map where it looks like creeps spawn less frequently, and some players were abusing that to try to hide and try to like survive on like one base and try to like avoid all the creeps and survive as long as they could. But I'm pretty sure they've taken note of that and will probably try to just increase like creep spawn location in those areas or something.
I mean, that's the way to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Just live. You don't need to win. You just need to live.
Exactly. But yeah, with that wraps up our modded events, and that leads us into our amateur events here for the week. That leads us into the Amateur League Weekly number 121.
Indeed. The Initiate series.
Yeah, so basically every single week, we haven't been covering this, but there's a lot of tournaments. Every single week there's an Amateur League Weekly, and basically there is one event per MMR range in a way. So there's 4 events every week. Every week there's 4 open cups, or 4 tournaments. They're not open, they're all like MMR locked, but ideally there's something for everyone.
Yeah, and it kind of tells you what the range you're looking for is on the bracket pages or on the challenge bracket itself. So the lowest one is the Initiate League. Looks to be from bronze to platinum.
Yep, from bronze to platinum. So Okay.
Yeah, I was just gonna say I'm just scanning these brackets to see if there are any names I recognize. Zertanus is in here for the Initiate one.
Yeah. Shout out to Zortanis. He did have a decent performance here in the events, making it to the top 4. Congratulations to Your Edge, who actually got knocked down by Flesh, but then came back from the lower bracket. So there was a bit of a back and forth between Flesh and Your Edge. In the end, Your Edge did claim the win 3-0. But congratulations here, and shout out to the top players. For those who are curious, when it comes to the prize pools or prize distributions, I believe players, they earn points. They do earn points that all leads towards the end of season, kind of like big major finale, the grand finals of the year, or of the season. So that's kind of what they're all working towards. And again, it's just a way to like incentivize participation, incentivize like competitive play between the players.
Yeah, and to incentivize a bit more of like whatchamacallit, consistency in a way, consistent signing up of these tournaments.
Oh yeah, exactly. An improvement, ideally. So congratulations to Your Edge, does win the initial initiate event. Up next is going to be the veteran events from between the leagues of Diamond 3 and Diamond 2.
That's my range.
Yo, you gonna step into the ring?
Am I awake?
that's the question.
Actually, yeah, 2 a.m. KST. I'm DJing right now, so.
Oh no. maybe. But yeah, some other players we're familiar with. We do see Cos Phoenix. He's a regular in our tournaments. We have Sugar Cold the Second as well. So a couple of regulars that we're familiar with. In the end, we do see similar to the previous event. Balimko did go down in the semifinals, but actually fought his way back up and got his revenge over Michi Tommy, 3-1.
So what you're saying is the strategy here is to get knocked down early by the finalist.
Yeah, and then their confidence builds up, right? Like they get overconfident, and then bam, that's when you get him.
Just like Nintendo.
Yeah, with the left.
Yeah.
And the right.
You hook 'em.
Exactly. So congratulations to Balimko, for claiming the Veteran Weekly. That leads us into the Prestige Weekly, oh my god, which is between the ranks of Diamond 1 and Masters 2.
Seems like a little bit of a larger range compared to what we just had and the one that's going to be coming up after this, but okay.
Yeah. It is a bit of a larger range here. Interesting. Personally, I feel like it would make sense to have all the diamonds together and then all the masters together, but it's fine. It's fine.
Well, you say that, but that's only because it's what we're used to doing.
Sure. Well, yeah, used to that. We do have a.
I was just gonna say, I think maybe the idea is that because D3 to D2 is where a lot of people tend to struggle the most at when it comes to what am I doing wrong, and then breaking into the higher level or so like that. I'm definitely not just projecting from my own experience.
Definitely not. Don't worry about it. It might also be just population based as well. Like I know the diamond population base is really large, so splitting it up, it would make sense just to spread out the player base amongst the tournaments. But yeah, we do have some of our regulars. I see Zigger, I see Dizzy Dwarf, I do see Milka as well, Altair, actually Defiance. A lot of these guys we actually see in our own tournaments, actually.
And that's where I guess that's if we needed more stats as to the distribution of our amateur tournaments and the rank distribution of our amateur tournaments. This is pretty insightful, I gotta say.
Yeah, exactly. As a lot of them are very active in these other online amateur events. This time, Darkblade does win it all. This time, he doesn't get knocked down. He doesn't get knocked down to lower brackets, but he did fight quite hard. Yeah, actually, if you look at his matches, every single series went to the ace match.
Yeah. He had to give his opponents hope.
Before taking it away.
Yeah. Also faced somebody who he knocked down to the lower bracket in the finals, so yeah.
True. So congratulations to Darkblade for taking the win and for becoming this week's Prestige champion. That leads us into our league tournaments. This one a little bit the signups are a little bit lesser here, but again, it does make a little bit more sense as again, there's no initial kind of like prize distribution for the weeklies. That might be different when it comes to the seasonal finals, but regardless, there is this final elite event, and we actually had Patches taking part in this.
Yeah, Patches taking part and not quite winning it, but making it all the way to those grand finals, being beaten by SW Pro.
Yeah. SW Pro does claim it in the end 3-1.
I also see a Miss Crimson here, and I'm like, Crimson?
no, quite Crimson.
No relation?
The one that we know. No relation.
So this isn't his daughter?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, so congratulations to SW Pro for claiming the win in the end. So yeah, just catching up on our amateur weekly events. And again, once we come around to the end of season championship, we'll be going all over that as well.
Yeah. And it'll be coming at some point.
Yeah, and very quickly as well, right? Like if you're out there, if you are, if you want to compete, if you maybe are a little bit concerned about facing off against some of the pro players in these open cups, if you want to play against players that are more around your MMR level, then this is the place to be, right? For these amateur league weeklies, if you're in like silver, gold, or platinum, like you can play against other like-minded or other similarly ranked players, diamond, masters as well. So there's a lot of opportunity if you do want that tournament experience.
I get what you're saying, like, alright, where's the next one?
The next one is on Sunday. Well, for you, it's Monday
Sunday
already, because it's at 2 a.m.
Monday morning.
I might not be.
There you go. We'll hound Yakko to play. Oh. As that leads us into our Chat Star League number 35. Again, a monthly tournament here. We have had 3 so far this year, and we do recognize some players coming into this. Gref, Jingming, Defi as well, Cobblestone, but alas, in the end, a Zerg player from Romania, Christy, takes the win.
Nice. You guys are a champion.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a little bit surprised here. I'll be honest, I've never heard of Christy before. As you can see, Christy doesn't even have a Wikipedia page. So very, very impressive performance here, getting the 3-0 over Xingming in the finals.
Yeah, not only beating Xingming, but also Defi and Cobblestone. So I was gonna say it didn't face a ZVZ, but I remembered. Oh right, this is an online kind of amateur tournament. Of course, it's not gonna be Zerg.
Caveat there, it's just a tournament, so of course there's no other Zerg. It's just feels bad, man. Feels bad. So yeah, Christy does take the win in the end. So congratulations, very well done. I hope to seeing more of Christy in the future. Again, it's a name that I'm very unfamiliar with when it comes to these brackets. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see if we get more of Christy in the future.
Yeah, I feel like Romania has been. There are more Romanian players stepping up recently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think we took note of that last week as well, so definitely exciting to see. Up next is going to be the Passion Craft Emerging Stars number 10. This is a weekly tournament that is limited to players that are 5.5k MMR and below. And oh my god, this is where we often see Ledlix. You did mention Ledlix earlier from the StarCraft Evolution event, and I believe Ledlix is a previous champion, but not this time, not this week.
Very, 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 very narrowly lost to Iro in those grand finals. I recognize that name.
Yeah. He's gonna have some tea and eat some duck. Oh no.
I was gonna say I recognize that name not just from the Legend of Aang, but I may be hallucinating. That may have been a dream.
There you go. No, I recognize the name as well. I think we've seen Iro in some brackets in the past. He liberates Ba Sing Se.
He does. Well, he liberates it after conquering it. So
true. There you go. Wait, did he?
Wait, no, that was
he failed. Yeah,
he failed. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm getting my timeline. I'm getting my timeline mixed up. It was he. Yeah, it was he initiated the siege, but then failed to take it, and so that's why he
because of his son.
Because his son died, and that's why he decided to follow Zuko around. And that was only years later when Azula took it.
This is like heavy spoilers for like a 20-year-old show.
I understand. It should have been. It should have been Zhao. Should have been Zhao. He died.
Shout out to Iroh.
Or did he die? It was kind of. It was really unclear.
I think he's dead. I think. but yeah. With that.
Never mind. This isn't the show where I rant about the Legend of Aang and Avatar. So never mind.
Oh no. Did you end up watching the live action show? Did you end up getting around to that?
You told me not to. You told me it was bad.
It is.
You told me not to.
Yaku, don't pretend to say that stopped you before. Okay, you think a bad show is gonna stop Yaku from watching it? Do you know who I'm talking to? What do you mean? God damn it! Go back to your Vampire Diaries and CW shows, Yaku. God. Yeah.
Something on CW for me to watch anymore. Arrowverse is done.
Thank God.
Well, that's not true. I haven't seen Riverdale yet.
That's not. Is that CW? Is that?
It might not be actually.
So it's close enough.
Sounds like it would be CW. So.
Yeah, for sure. But with that, congratulations to Iroh, as you mentioned, to take down Ledlix. As you mentioned, very close finals there, and that also means that Iroh is going to be a part of the next OSC Rising Star. In
and you know what? That's great news because, again, another Zerg player. We need to get him in when we can.
Get him in, mate. Get him in. Let's go. So big shout out to Iroh. That leads us into our next events, getting into our regional tournaments. So that leads us into the Host Open number 18.
Yes, the Torneo Host Open number 18. I should really read the full name of these things instead of just the first word.
There you go. But yes, the Host Open is a month.
Yeah.
It's all good. The Host Open is a monthly Brazilian tournament. Not to be confused with Amantes. This is, of course, run by Host. Host Masters. They are an esports team, and Gustavo does cast this and does organize this. The Host Open did take place, and it was a pretty intense 2-day event.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this bracket, and I'm like, there is no way this could have been done in just a single day.
Yeah.
Brazil, man, they show up. They show up and they support their scene.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, 100%. Here we did have our regulars though that we expect to make deep runs in the Brazilian scene. Master, right? Master is one of the big names. We had Allison, Kamikaze, Dorminoko as well. And in the end,
I was gonna say, did we come to this consensus that Master is the best Protoss player in Latin America, or am I thinking of someone else?
No, yeah, Master, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say right now that, like, tentatively I would say that just because Mute has been doing really well. If you remember, we were praising Mute for he beat Classic a couple weeks ago, and he took a map of Cure a couple weeks ago. Yeah, Peruvian player, yeah. So Mute has been getting some really good results. But we haven't seen Mute and Master face off. Like that's something that hasn't happened. So I think for now I will tentatively say that Master's the best in Latin America. But I think Mute might be able to challenge him. Might be able to.
Mute the Master. All right, I'm into it.
Oh, there you go.
Arrange a show match for that.
Exactly. But yeah, Master does take down Allison 2-1 in the upper semi-finals. That leads us into his series against Dorminoko, and Master did claim the win over Kamikaze. Kamikaze having a comeback run in the lower matches. Did go down to Sleepy, did go down to Dorminoko initially, but was able to get his revenge and make it to the finals.
Yeah. Very cool to see. Was a little bit more one-sided of a finals, but I mean, let's be honest. You look at this bracket, you see Master in it. You're gonna expect him to dominate.
Yeah. Once again, it's one of those things that we expect players like Eric or Inexorable to like stand up to Master, but they were not here. They were not here, not for the host open. So Master, he was able to have a bit of a cleaner run. I will say that again, Allison did put up a fight. Allison did take a map earlier in the tournament as well, but outside of Allison, outside of Kamikaze, Master did look good. Did look strong.
Yeah, he mastered the domain.
Oh yeah, he did. So shout out to Master. That leads us into our next big qualifier for the Chicken King Team League. We've been slowly progressing here. I think last time we covered the lower bracket round 1, but here we now have updates for the upper bracket round 3. We now have our first set of qualified teams.
I actually haven't seen this one yet. Okay. Let's see how Skitty did.
Let's go. As we do see Elpis Esports, which we did come to the consensus was the number 1 team of the qualifier, at least, does take down Super Kitty or Skitty number 2. Skitty 2 do fall. Likewise, Toho Project take down Protoss the best, 4-2 as well.
I think we also agreed that Toho Project was probably the second or the third best team in this qualifier, or second strongest team in this qualifier. So yeah, kind of what we expected here. Meanwhile, we also have a little bit of progression in the lower round. As a reminder, 2 more teams will be qualifying from the lower bracket, and we do see Skitty 1 or Skitty Prime beating out Astartes. Apparently the Wikipedia hasn't been updated, so we don't actually know what went on in the matches, but we can confirm Skitty won, and will be facing off against PCEC, who beat Rookie Warpgate in a clean sweep.
Ooh, yeah.
Well, I say Rookie Warpgate. It's Rookie Warpgate, basically the B team.
Yes. There are two of those teams. Speaking of Kauda, take down Skitty number 4. They barely take them down 5-4, so a very close, very intense back and forth. Likewise, Rookie Warpgate, they clean sweep Skitty 3. So we are losing some of these Super Kitties. Some of them have been falling to the wayside, but we still have Kitty Prime and Kitty DOS as well.
We almost had another Skitty versus Skitty match. We had one so far, Skitty 3 versus Skitty 2. We almost had Skitty 4 versus Skitty 3. We could still get Skitty Prime versus Skitty 2.
Yeah. I look forward to it. If you remember, I want to see Skitty Prime versus Skitty 2, and I want to see Skitty 2 win.
Yes.
Let's go.
I want to see Skitty. I want to see the Skitty team be like, "What are you doing, B team?" And Skitty 2 be like, "Succeeding you."
Exactly. It's like, what do you mean? The B team is losing. Just looks at them in the face, looks directly into their eyes. You are the B team now.
And then here's the thing: it's like, okay, we're the A team now. Do we get to drop the 2? And they're like, "Oh no, you're still Skitty 2. You're just the main team now. You're just the A team now."
Exactly. No. So we'll see how they do compare. We'll see if that comes to pass. Again, up next in the coming weeks, we're going to be getting Skitty versus PCEC and Kauda versus Rookie Warpgate to determine the final qualified teams. We'll get there.
Indeed, we shall.
Meanwhile, that does lead us into the Sunrise Cup 194. This is a weekly tournament for the Chinese scene, and we do have a TVT finals. Oh my god! I believe.
Names?
Yeah, we have some new names here. I believe that's Silky. No, not quite.
No.
If you remember, Silky did name change.
Silky did name change, but he's still playing Zerg, so.
Yeah, I was checking to see if they were the player in the semifinals, but that is not Silky. Yeah. I was just double checking. Silky, but yeah, we have a TVT finals
change to like Big Cat or something like that.
Yes.
Something
yes.
Neko, Super Neko.
In
Japanese, not
in characters. Mm-hmm.
He name changed to a Japanese name for some reason.
He is very weeb. We do know this.
We do know that, yeah.
Wait. Did he change to a Super Kitty?
Yeah, I think so. It's like, if I remember correctly, it's either Super Kitty or just Big Kitty.
It's big kitty,
Somewhere.
but
Big
like
kitty,
like
okay. It's like
translation wise,
Necro.
like yeah, it might be like the same word though for like super kitty. It might like big kitty might be the same thing, but yeah,
potentially
could be like a localization thing.
it was like
but
Necro or something like that.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, congratulations here to our rookie Warpgate champion.
Yeah, Methuselah, who I'm not sure if he's won one of these before, but we've seen him around quite a bit.
Yeah. I don't think he has won one of these before, but as you mentioned, like he has been like a regular, and he might be a little bit more active just because of the Chicken King Team League as well. So maybe practicing and getting into the swing of things here. And he seems like a very young player as well. He was born in 2003. Crazy.
Oh, so he might as well not exist, as far as I'm concerned.
Oh no. The Zoomers, they're coming.
Image. Well, I don't know. 2003, still close, I've said this time and time again. I use my younger cousin as a cutoff point.
Okay.
My younger cousin was born in 2006, and I'm like, okay, there we go. I have other cousins born after that, but I'm like, yeah, well, they don't exist.
So congratulations to Methuselah winning, I believe,
beating
his first Sunrise Cup.
Yeah, beating Ko. I want to say Guo. No, Ko Feng. So it's like Ko is like tofu, from what I remember. It's not tofu, but it's related to the process of making tofu. Ko.
In Google Translate, it says it's
the word for wind or air, I believe. So it's like bean, air. I recognize that character. I don't remember what it sounds. The sound it makes. I recognize those last two. I don't remember what sounds they make. I want to say
fair enough. Okay.
Z-I, so T. And then the last one I'll just guess, Wei? Which, put together... Okay, put together, I think that means... Air, bean, stir-fry.
So according to Google Translate, it's Komei Chikaku. You got the code.
I got the first one right. I got the first and the third one right.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, there we go. And it translates to air fryer beans.
I don't know if that's true, but
what does it say? What does it say?
It doesn't give a translation. I Google the name and I get an anime waifu. So I think that's I think it might be the name of an anime waifu. No.
I'm now realizing that all the words I remember are related to food somehow.
Yeah. So you remember.
If you ever wanted to know how my brain works.
But there's a lot of anime waifu here. So that's regardless. Thankfully,
I typed that in and I got Chikako, Princess Kazu, the wife of the 14th shogun of the Tokugawa. So yeah, sounds like an anime waifu.
Is it from her project? That wouldn't surprise me.
It has to be, right?
Yeah. God damn it. But literally waifu.
There's also a character in One Piece called Komei, known by the titles Genius Tactician and White Feather. Sorry.
There you go.
He looks like a dad.
But with that, so congratulations here to Methuselah. Methuselah. Congratulations on their first win here in Sunrise Cup, and I look forward to seeing more of them in future Sunrise Cups and also in the Chicken King qualifiers as well, as they are in a very intense lower bracket match. His team, Rookie Warpgate. So best of luck, and that leads us into the rest of our show matches here into the Super 7s.
Indeed, Super 7 number 36, this time a TVZ. And yeah, this one was between Solar and Cure. Cure ended up taking this, and to be honest, I feel like if this was any other player, I would be worried about Solar slipping back into his villain arc. But I feel like Cure himself, right? He as well is going on a little bit. He himself is getting a little bit of like not retribution. What's it called? Redemption. So I feel like this is the middle of the arc where the hero who is looking to get redeemed meets another hero who's looking to get redeemed.
Yeah,
and then they fight. And then they fight, and they're like, okay, let's take this to the next level. And then they ally. After they fight.
There you go. I mean, I agree in the sense that if this was a ZVP, I'd be concerned for Solar's mental state for sure, that he'd fall back dark into a deep depression. But as you mentioned, instead it's Cure, so I think Solar he's gonna be okay here. He's gonna take it on the chin and move forward.
Or if it was Bjorn, then
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, true. But yeah, congratulations to Cure. He does claim the series 4-1. Big win there for Cure. Shout out to Solar for taking the initial map, but does crumble or does fall in the end in this best of 7. So really well done there by Cure. That leads us into our next Supers show match, the Super StarCraft Global number 16.
Indeed we do. And this time, as always, not quite a just full-on show match. I mean, it's still kind of a show match, but it does have that bracket format. Once again, Cure kind of showing off quite a bit, being able to defeat Rogue in that first round in the semifinals, but didn't meet his match and did get taken out by Dark, who very, very, very narrowly got his revenge against Classic in his round 1 match.
Yeah, GG, well played. Dark, he does take it just barely in the end over Classic, over Cure. You did mention before about Dark's military. We know that he's going in the beginning of April. I'm referring to like first, second week of April. This match was played at the end of March. So far, I think this is the latest event, that the most recent event that Dark played in. So we'll see if he does play in anything else before that kind of end date. But yeah, I'm just double checking, and yes, this is his. So far, this is the last match that he's played.
It's funny that we had the farewell show match for him. And I was like, oh yeah, Dark, farewell, goodbye. We'll see you when you get back from the military. And then he's also playing in something else after it.
Yeah. This was like I think 2 days after that show match. So yeah, did play in this, and again did well for himself. Did win in the end. Did take down Classic. Did take down Cure. GG.
4-2 as well, so, I mean, kind of close, but not really.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's, like, bittersweet, just because right now Dark is clearly, like, he's in form, like, he's still able to take it to the best players out there, so despite Dark playing in less tournaments and kind of toning things down as he nears his military, still very much so is competitive.
Yeah. Who knows? Who knows if he comes back? By the time he comes back, if there's something to come back to, who knows where he'll go from there.
For sure. Do look forward to it. As that leads us into the Basilisk Big Brain Bouts. This does feature some players that I'm very unfamiliar with. We do have our show match series here. We have Goblin versus Anticore. We have TaKe versus Revo. We have Azura versus Spazzy Mazzy, and Fiant versus Hydra.
Yeah, let's go. 2 very up-and-coming players coming in for that main event. 2 very young players coming in for that main event. But of course, before getting too ahead of ourselves, we did have our opening acts. And I gotta say, very one-sided when it came to the bouts. We had Revo taking out TaKe 3-0. Goblin off-racing. Always cool to see. Goblin taking out Anticore 3-0. Spazzy Mazzy also taking out Azura 3-1. But then you get to the main event, and oh man, this was a close one.
Oh yeah, very clutch, very close back and forth. Fiant and Hydra going the distance here. Again, ex-teammates, as Hydra for a time was on Team Roddy. No longer, is now on Alien Esports, but Fiant does barely claim the win, 3-2.
It feels very fitting for Fiant, the player still on Team Roddy, to win this one. In a very close reverse sweep as well.
I'm sure it's I'm sure there was also a lot of pressure because Roddy was casting this match as well. Yeah. So he was like, "Man, you better win it here, man. Okay, you're still on the team. Don't make me regret it, mate." Oh god!
If you lose, you're washing my car for the next 3 months.
Oh no. The pressure was on. But yeah, as you mentioned, congratulations to Fiant. It was a very clutch back and forth. Very exciting to see Goblin off race. He did off race during the FFAs last time as well. So a little bit of off racing here from Goblin playing Terran. It is a great sight to see. And yeah, really good performance against Anticore.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like there was
bracket. I accidentally closed the bracket. I'm just about to open it up again.
Yeah, it did take down Anticore. I feel like there was a missed opportunity here because we have a lot of Danish representation. I was about to say that Anticore and Spazzy Mazzy are not the most active players anymore. They used to be. They used to be very active. They used to play in a lot of tournaments. Nowadays, less so. Nowadays, they haven't played in much. Just to confirm, just to double down on that, I just checked because I'm like, I haven't seen Spazzy Mazzy in a while. He hasn't played StarCraft. He hasn't competed in anything in StarCraft since August of last year. So it's been months since he last played in a tournament.
Yeah, not quite a year, but about 2/3 of a year.
Yeah.
Well, 3/4 when it comes. No, 2/3 of a year.
Yeah, when it comes to Anticore as well, not the most active of players. So yeah, really cool to see the Danish boys brought back for the big brain bouts, and yeah.
I realized what the theme this week was.
What's the theme?
Scandinavia versus the world. You have Revo the Finn versus Takwa from the US. You have Anticore versus Goblin. Denmark versus Croatia. Then you have Spazzy versus Azura. That's Denmark again. Should be somebody from Norway, but all right. What is Denmark if not Norway? So we'll count them both together. Spazzy Mazzy versus Azura. That's Denmark versus Italy. And I tell you, the Scandinavian boys did all right. I mean, Revo Kids series, but then it all came down to Fiant. Sweden versus. I almost said Denmark. No, Netherlands. There we go.
Yes.
So I have two notes. Firstly, Jaakko, Finland is not part of Scandinavia. Fun fact. Secondly,
close enough.
This specific Big Brain Bout actually did have a theme, as we saw tweets coming that this was actually themed around the All Things Protoss Team League, the ATL.
Yeah. So Scandinavia.
So you had a Protoss. Exactly. That's the land where they're from.
Yeah.
Gemini, he is the leader of All Things Protoss, and of course they had to pick a Korean to be the leader.
There you go. Trap.
I was trying to make a joke about how Gemini is now Korean, but
okay. But yeah, so there you go. So I was going to mention that I think the only thing that Spazzy Mazzy and Anticore have played in the past is All Things Protoss Team League as well. So really cool to see them taking part. And with that, congratulations to our winning players here, Defiant, Reval, Goblin, and Spazzy Mazzy as well.
Yeah, nicely done.
GG, well played. That leads us into our OSC events. That leads us into the OSC Rising Star number 14. Now, this event has finally gotten a bit of an update here. We have some matches wrapping up in the upper bracket quarterfinals.
You said we finally have an update, and I was like, oh? Are we done? Is it over?
No, no, mate.
Not at all. Yeah.
Yes, we do have not the entirety of round 3 finishing, but that upper bracket quarterfinals has almost fully completed. So we do have some updates here. Minno VK takes down Percival 2-1. I would say that's a big win. That's a big win for old mate Minno VK. As again, especially nowadays, we consider him more to be like a content creator, a streamer, a caster. Percival has been on the rise, so congratulations. Again, really, really big win there for Mindle.
Yeah, big win here from Mindle VK. He's going to be facing either Jumi or Art in the upper bracket semis. So it's still going to be tough for him, no matter who he faces there. But we'll see.
For sure.
Yeah.
Another update here is Eba takes down Nickrak 2-1. I would say a big win there. Eba hasn't really been active as of late. We'll get into it when it comes to some of the Open Cups. But I actually reached out. I was like, "Yo, what's going on? Like, you haven't really been playing much." And he's like, like recently he has been focusing on school. He's been focusing on his studies. So over the past like month, I want to say, like four-ish weeks, like Eba just hasn't really been active in tournaments. So he was a little bit shaky and he wasn't too confident coming into it. But yeah, for him to take down Nickrak, that's impressive. Very impressive.
Big win here, definitely. Especially considering that Nickrak's TV P is looking pretty good now. Oh, but then again, Eba could have off race, so okay, never mind.
Yeah, I think he off races Zerg. Yeah, I think. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. So yeah, really big win there for Nickrak. Sorry, for Eba. Did go through the ace match. Meanwhile, Night Phoenix versus Inexorable also did play out, and Night Phoenix did take down Inexorable 2-1.
Nicely done here. Yeah, so those two, Eba and Night Phoenix, could be facing off against each other in those upper bracket semis.
Yo, we have some other updates here, actually. The lower bracket round 1 did conclude. We haven't seen these results before. We did have a walkover, but Jome takes down Hatsu 2-0. Art takes down Renny Hour 2-0. And a big result, Demi takes down Rebellion. Oh my god.
2-0. I was going to say, Demi takes out Rebellion 2-0. Huge result. His reward? He has to face Homono in the next round. That's no. Oh, no.
No one wants that. No one wants to play against Homono in that lower bracket. So but congratulations again, Demi. He's also a very inactive player. Currently, Demi, he plays for fun. Like Demi, he's not a full-time player anymore. Like he's also focusing on his studies, focusing on his university, and because that Demi he doesn't invest as much time to play. Because of it, I would say that Demi has adjusted his style. Now he's a little more cheesy. Now because there's less weight in his shoulders. He has less reason to try hard and play macro and play these longer games. Like nah. He's more chaotic nowadays.
Yeah, I love to see it. Mio Micah kind of slipping into him.
Oh, let's go. That's that's what we want to see. So it's fine. We like it. As Demi does take down Rebellion up against Homono in the next round, and we will be getting updates soon TM on the rest of the tournament.
Yeah. Eventually, Jumi and Art will play their series.
Yeah. Soon TM. There you go. As that leads us into our next tournament, that leads us into the OSC King of the Hill 204. You did speak on seeing these brackets, and we did see the Björn performance in the SEL King of the Hill, and mate, Björn in general this week on a tear. Also went on a deep and massive win streak.
That he did, a very, very long win streak, and yeah, one of only 4 players to have been able to actually win matches this week. We of course start off with Crater versus Percival. Crater, he was a raiding King of the Hill, right, from the week prior?
I think so, potentially.
Why am I asking you this?
Yes, yeah, he was. Yeah, he was.
I could just check that for myself. Yeah, okay, so that makes sense. Yeah, and Crater was able to beat Percival there. Jumi, however, got the better of him in the next match, and then went on to win 3 more matches after that, until he faced Björn, who did take that crown from Jumi, avenging his mountain brother. He won that match and then won 8 more matches afterwards, until we got to match 15, the final one of the evening, where it looked like Björn was going to be unstoppable. And don't get me wrong, he did have a very, very, very long win streak, but maybe a little bit too long, because in the end, Skillus was able to defeat him, steal that crown, and become the reigning King of the Hill.
Yeah, GG, well played. Skillus, he has been getting the better of Björn in recent times, so big win there for Skillus, as he is the reigning King of the Hill. Björn, he won on a tear, though, as you mentioned, took down Arrowfire, Sebestus, Nickrat, Christiana, Shameless, Night Phoenix, Baby Marine, Jumi, and Nightmare. I want to emphasize Nightmare because Nightmare has been a lot more inactive. Nightmare, he was, I would say, the most active Protoss player coming into December and January. But coming into February, into March, now into April, Nightmare, he has been playing a lot less. He's been playing a lot less, competing in a lot less, which is why I'm excited to see him step into the ring here. It was a short showing as he got knocked out by Björn, but I did notice that Nightmare started streaming again recently. So it looks like he is, maybe taking a bit of a break, but it looks like he is back and he's getting back into form.
Yeah, always nice to see.
Mm-hmm.
I think for a while
Definitely.
we were kind of looking at the Korean Protoss players and we're like, okay, Nightmare and Zaun, these are the two people to really look out for. And then, like you said, Nightmare kind of took a little bit of a break in the past couple of weeks, so haven't really been able to see much from him. But yeah, I'm glad that he is coming back, and I'm glad that we're gonna be able to see more from him potentially.
Yeah. Big Nightmare fan, so hope to see more of him in the future.
Big
Regardless,
Nightman,
GG. Yeah, exactly. So so congratulations there to Björn for taking the majority of the wins here tonight. Jimmy also coming in second place when it comes to his wins, taking down GG Machine, Creator, Geralt, and Hatsu. Big wins there for Jimmy. Again, Jimmy, I don't want to gloss over it just because he has been claiming some bigger and bigger accolades over the past couple of months at this point. Like every now and then Jimmy pops off and takes down like a big Korean name. These are best of ones, so there's a little bit less weight behind it, but still something to bear in mind.
Yeah, there's a little bit less weight behind them, but when you start getting a whole bunch, your back breaks.
Oh yeah. Do have to be careful about that. You have to take care of yourselves. So we'll see if we get more of Jumi later on. That does wrap up OSC King of the Hill. Again, that is a weekly tournament, so do tune into the next one. I believe this week it was covered by Steadfast, and that leads us into our Open Cup, starting with Sparkling Tuning Cup number 86.
Indeed, one of our own. And I have to say, I feel encouraged by the fact that we have a little bit of red in this bracket.
I mean, none of it made it past the first round, but yes, I mean, we did have some Zerg sign-ups. Let's go, Papi, let's go. As Skillus does go on a tear here, he does take down Matt, Azura, and Geralt before facing off against a bit of, I wouldn't say a newcomer here, but a player that isn't or hasn't been able to have as strong of a performance in recent times. He goes up against Creator. Recently, we've been seeing performances by Bunny, by Björn, by Solar, but here, Creator, he did pop off instead, also not losing a single map until the finals.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, I was kind of disappointed in these finals. I thought, looking at this bracket, okay, Skillus is on a tear, Creator is on a tear, there's going to be such a close PvP finals, and yeah, it kind of wasn't.
Yeah, there was a bit of a back and forth, but as you mentioned, didn't go to the ace match, right? We were hoping for an ace match, hoping for a game 5. Alas, Skillus has been very in form as of late. We did mention him earlier. I mean, hey, he's the reigning King of the Hill in the OSC King of the Hill, and here he drops one map to Creator, but only one map to Creator, as he was able to look quite dominant in the rest of the bracket.
Yeah. A shout out to Creator for forcing Skillus to use more than 10% of his power.
Yeah, exactly. GG, well played. Also, I mean, Creator, he may not have beaten Skillus, but he did beat the Tuna, as he did 2-0 Ryung in the semi. Yeah. So still good showing there.
I feel like there needs to be a bounty or a title given to every week the player who takes out Ryung, the Tuna Eater. Mm-hmm. It's the title that we can give them.
Exactly.
The shark.
Exactly. So
no, that's Demi's title.
It is Demi.
The dolphin.
So yeah, Creator, he had a really good showing nonetheless. Shout out to Geralt, because Geralt, he actually toured Cristiano. I know that they go back and forth. I would say that Cristiano usually gets the better of Geralt, but yeah, Geralt, he brought him down in the quarterfinals.
Nice to see. Geralt once again asserting himself onto the rest of the subjects in Poland.
Yeah, for sure. So GG, well played. That leads us into our next event. That leads us into the Wardy TV Mondays number 29, our next Open Cup. Now, as a reminder, the Wardy TV Mondays in recent times have been also providing qualification spots to the top placing players. So that is also going to be a factor coming into this, into the eventual Spring Championship.
Yeah. And this week, I believe only one. I believe there was only one qualification spot to give, as our top 4 players... Out of our top 4 players, 3 of them were already qualified. Talking, of course, about Hero, Solar, and MaxPax. But hang on a minute. Showtime is here. he does get. Not only does he secure his spot in the Wardy TV Spring Championship, he comes in second place. And so, for the first time in a very long time, we have neither Clem or MaxPax in the finals of a online Wardy TV Monday.
Yeah, still Hero, but yeah, as you mentioned, no Clem or MaxPax. This was the best performance we've seen from Showtime all year. This was crazy good, at least when it comes to the Open Cups. Yeah, Showtime. 2-0's Bunny, 2-0's Clem. What I will say, we didn't get to cast them, but I was watching that over on my other monitor at the time. I think Wardy was covering that series. Showtime versus Clem, those were not cheeses. I mean, it's Showtime. It's not known for cheese. Those were some mid to late game plays between Clem and Showtime. So they went the distance in that series, and Showtime, he comes out on top. He takes down Solar as well, went to the ace match against Hero. Like, Showtime, he was on fire this week.
Oh, yeah, the wall, the Mauer is building up. Strengthening.
It's getting taller.
Yeah, getting taller, getting thicker, getting harder.
Yes.
Getting what's a fresh coat of paint.
So, yeah, it's just really impressive there by Showtime. Coming into this, of course, Clem, he took down Jumi in the first round, but went down to Showtime. Solar had a good performance as well. I'll be honest, Solar versus Skills was very close. Very, very close. Skillless, he took down Shin, by the way, in the first round, and then did fall to Solar. But Skillless, he had a strong performance himself, went the distance, went all the way to the ace match. Solar came out on top. Scrolling down towards the bottom of the bracket, we had nothing but PvPs, and MaxPax was looking a little bit shaky here today because he did go down to Hero, but even against Creator and even against Lemon, MaxPax, he was dropping maps.
Yeah, a little bit of trouble over in all things Protoss, perhaps, or what I'm trying to say is perhaps the big brain belts kind of shook him a bit.
Yeah, it's possible. So yeah, shout out to Creator for taking down Byun in the first round. You know, the Mountain Boys had to face off against each other, went to the ace match against MaxPax. Hero in the end did take down Nickrat Classic MaxPax and did win the event over Showtime, but again, it was not an easy finals whatsoever. So congratulations to Hero. He's no stranger to winning these events, but a big shout out to Showtime, as he was, I would say, like the star standout performer in the tournament.
Indeed. Oh man, I'm excited now.
Yeah.
For Showtime.
For sure. Big Showtime fans. Big fans. So yeah, looking forward to see Showtime and to see his rate of improvement here. Is Showtime going to Stars Agora? Is he a part of that?
He's not confirmed. Or he wasn't an invitee, but I mean, we're going to be looking at the EU qualifiers soon, so.
Yeah, I'm getting ahead of myself. True. But definitely one to look at. Definitely one to look at for that sort of thing. So we'll definitely keep an eye on Showtime. Regardless, congratulations to Hero. That leads us into the Monday Night Weeklies. So later on that evening, we did have our next big event, and we had a lot of these returning players. Once again, we had MaxPax, Showtime, Clem, Solar, Byun. A lot of players are now getting used to staying up and playing in all of these tournaments.
Yeah, I'm glad that I'm not the only DGen around here, so.
You're among fellow DGens. Oh, no.
Hell yeah. I'm among friends. I don't think we'll go that far, but yeah, it's nice to see more and more players staying up and more players coming in to compete, and a couple of revenge results that we're getting here. First off, Clem beating Showtime this time around in that upper bracket. In those upper bracket finals, knocking him down to the lower semifinals. I also see Byun and Sola facing off here, but big result, the one that took me by surprise, and pleasant surprise, I would say. Hero Marine, Gabe himself, knocks out MaxPax once again, preventing him from making it to a grand finals.
Yeah. It's been over the past, I want to say 3 weeks that, if you remember, Gabe notoriously didn't play in these tournaments. He notoriously did not play in these tournaments. He did not play in these Open Cups.
He made a whole video about why he didn't want to play in them.
Yeah, but it's been in recent weeks. It's only recently, but Gabe has now been signing up, and he has been getting some really good performances here. As you mentioned, these are best of ones, but he eliminated Jumi, he eliminated MaxPax, and Solar as well. Like, these are very impressive snipes here from Big Gabe. So very, very nicely done. And when it comes to the upper bracket, I feel like I need to praise Showtime, because Showtime, he may have gone down in the end, but Showtime, he took down MaxPax and he got his revenge over Hero in the upper bracket as well. So those are some big wins there from Showtime, showing that against Hero, he may have lost in the finals of World TV Monday, but he can still take it to him and even take these series as well.
Yeah. Best of 3. Let's go.
Yeah, did take down both Hero and MaxX in the best of 3. In the end, he went down to Bjorn. Bjorn, not a player that I was expecting to see make a deep run. He's not too often making it here into the finals, but Bjorn, he got knocked out by Solar in the earlier upper rounds, but Bjorn, he made his way through those best of 1s. Really, it was the King of the Hills. The King of the Hills, they prepared him for this format. Let's go.
Exactly. He lost the best of 3 versus Solar, and his best of 3 versus Goblin. He looked shaky. But then he won every single best of 1 he had from there on out. Got to the grand finals. It was a best of 3 again, so obviously he couldn't win.
But yeah, really cool, really interesting to see, right? Like so far in all these best of 1 formats, like Bjorn has been excelling, whether it's OC King of the Hill, SEL King of the Hill, and here in the lower bracket. So yeah, Bjorn thriving in that format this week. As you mentioned, in the end did fall to Clem's Protoss, as Clem has some of the best PvT in the world. So in the end, Clem did take it. But shout out to Bjorn for making it to the finals. Impressive.
Yeah. Always love to see it.
Definitely. As that leads us into our next event, that leads us into that morning, the Pegasaur Monday. Pegasaur Monday number 25.
Indeed, we shall. And we do have another PvT finals, but, well, I guess Clem usually doesn't play in the Pegasaur Monday. So, what I was going for doesn't really work, but what I'm trying to get at is Hero versus Cure was our grand finals this time. Won by Hero.
Yeah, again, I mean, the marathon, right? Like, Hero, Bjorn, Max, they didn't sleep. They did not sleep. They did not rest. They played in all 3 tournaments, so it was a battle of endurance in the end that Hero didn't falter. He did not falter. I believe Cure did sleep. I believe Cure did not play in the European Cup, so Cure, he was well rested, but Hero, he thrives in the D-Gen, Pappy. He's used to it at this point.
Yeah, he is the Goblin. Many people have pointed out. Zero chill whatsoever. And I gotta say once again, MaxX, he ain't catching any breaks this week. Once again, denied a spot in the finals here, this time by Cure.
Yeah, it was the previous tournaments a couple of hours earlier where Gabe brought down MaxX. Here, Cure brings down MaxX. Crazy result. I would say an upset. I mean, I should emphasize, I would also say that Gabe taking down MaxX is also an upset as well. That is why these are big wins, like big performances by Cure, by Gabe as well to bring down MaxX. MaxX is still the best Protoss in all of Europe, but yeah, looking a little bit shakier specifically this week. Speaking of some European players, though, I also have to give praise. Do you see him on the bracket? Boanan, mate, he cannon rushed his way through Bunny.
Oh, yeah, I'm just noticing that.
Yeah, he's an animal.
Pure too.
He does, yeah, like, mate.
Could have had a PvP finals.
We could have. It would have been. It would have been even shorter, mate. That's what that would have been. But yeah, Boanan, he is a renowned cannon rusher, and he takes down Bunny and force Cure to the ace match. Again, cannon rushing can be deadly, very deadly.
There's an art to it.
100%. There is an art to it. So yeah, with that, in the end, congratulations to Hero. Hero, he didn't drop a map. He went undefeated, clean win there at a Hero.
Taking it basically a what's it called, a flawless victory.
Yes, flawless victory here for Hero as he does 2-0-3-0 everyone involved. Congratulations. With that leads us into our next event. Now, this is a new event. Welcome to the K-Cup. K-Cup, of course, standing for the organizer of the event, Kanoya, so the K-Cup Korean edition. And this is a new event. Kanoya, he's a French caster. He did host this event as his first one, and he has expressed interest in potentially hosting more events for some of the other regions. This was just his first step, and we might see more in the future.
Yeah, I mean, when you call it K-Cup Korea or K-Cup KR, immediately I think most people who see that will think, okay, where's K-Cup EU? Where's K-Cup NA?
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Yeah, looking forward to that. If he is able to kind of venture further and expand into those territories.
Mhm. Yeah, I look forward to it as well. Again, I know that there's still some teething issues when it comes to like adminning and running the event and hosting it. But best of luck to Kanoya in the future. Again, this was casted by ourselves, by Inu, by TKL as well. And when it comes to the event itself here, I mean, we had some heavy hitters. We had Hero,
Well,
Shin, Creator, Beyond, Cure, Solar, kind of the
be-
players you would expect.
before we get into the bracket itself, can I just say, looking at the notable participants, this is the first time in, I want to say, years where we have fewer Protoss participation than Terran and Zerg.
True.
Especially Zerg.
Yeah. It's by one, but still, like,
Yeah?
it's not by a large margin, but a margin nonetheless. So yeah, that is crazy. In the end, a Protoss player did win it, but as you mentioned, not as much Protoss representation, not in this first edition. So in the end, congratulations to Heroes, he comes out on top. But there was a lot of competition here, is what I will say. Creator, he did force a series out of it. The semifinals were best of fives. The grand finals was the best of seven. We didn't get to cover it because we were following Hero and Shin and Creator, but Solar popped off. Like, I didn't get to see the matches themselves, but Solar against Kira and Byun, he was looking dominant.
Yeah, he's really figured out CVT by the looks of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, at least
And
against
even,
our Korean Terrans. Mm-hmm.
And even in the grand finals, I mean, honestly, I was expecting Solo to win this one.
Yeah, Solar had a massive lead. He had if you look at the matches themselves, like he had a 3-1. He was up.
Yeah.
He was up 3-1, and he needed one more game. One more game is all he needed. He was so close to killing Hero into closing it out, and then Hero he brought it back. He almost reverse sweep. Almost.
I remember watching the King's Cove game, and I was like, "All right, Solo, he wins this," and then all of a sudden his all-in fails, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh well, I guess Hero's coming back now. Things are getting a lot closer now."
Mm-hmm.
Hero, he's warmed up, and was able to take it in the end.
Yeah, you just reminded me, right? King's Cove was the game where Solo went for, it was like a 3-base all-in where he broke the 4th base of Hero and contained him on 3 bases, was doing really well. And specifically that game, Solo, he did take a 4th and he teched into Corruptors, but he didn't make any upgrades. He didn't tech into Hive. He basically went for a second all-in, and it didn't work, right? He went for a second all-in, it failed, and then Hero clawed his way back into it, and that was the beginning of the comeback. That was the moment where momentum swung heavily in favor of Hero, and Hero he just took it from there.
Yeah. Kept going, didn't drop a sweat.
Yeah. Again, Hero, he's just very tenacious, very tenacious.
Now, of course, we also had a third place match between the two Mountain Boys.
Yeah, once again, a repeat of the result as well. Creator and Beyond, they faced off earlier in the week, and they faced off again. Creator with a 4-0 over Beyond, so big win there for Creator. That does mean that he does walk away with some prize money here, so congratulations. Of course, shout out to Solo for getting second place, and Hero for claiming that first.
Well played.
And also, again, shout out to Kanuya for hosting the event, and we look forward to seeing future events or events in the future here. Again, he expressed interest in maybe hosting another K-Cup for like other regions, and then maybe like a cross finals or something where he can like invite players in and get them all together. So a lot of it's still in the works, a lot of it's still yet to be like refined and confirmed. But Kanoya, he has plans.
Yeah.
For sure. As that does lead us into our next event, that leads us into the Rex March Madness.
Oh boy. And once again, I feel like my train has been derailed. Shin, I was rooting for him.
I mean, hey, Shin, he did well in the group stage. You know, he was able to. If you remember, we had no faith. the Rex March Madness is going to be the infamous tournament. Yeah,
we had no faith in Shin, and then Shin made it out of his group. And then when he made it out of his group, and we're like, "Oh, Shin, actually, he's doing pretty good." And then we're like, expectations are on him again. Did I get sucked out?
Exactly. It's the expectations. It's one that you can't expect much out of Shin, and then he'll do well. If you expect it, then that's when he's the pressure, the pressure.
Yeah.
But in the end, so we did go over the group stage last week, but the playoffs did take place. In the end, Hero did take down Shin 3-1, and Clem took down Max 3-2. I believe we did mention, or I believe I was on the most likely, like the head was Hero Clem, but I did want Shin to do well here, and he made a series out of it as well. In the end, Clem does take it. Clem still, of course, the best player in the world, but Hero and Max did make him work for it. You know, Clem went to the ace match against Max, and even Hero did take maps as well.
Both of them able to take 2 games off of Clem.
Yeah, exactly. They both took their games. They both did put on a Resistance Hero put on a show against Clem. Clem does take the win. Congratulations. Again, Clem is still very much looking in form, but a shout out to, again, Max and Hero for likewise also looking in form as the top 2 Protosses in the world. I mean, I say that hesitantly now with Showtime's recent performances, but, you know, we'll see how consistent Showtime becomes, but
he's gonna wall both of them off.
True. He's gonna wall them out. It's gonna be Showtime on top. Oh my god. But maybe a little bit too soon to really commit to that. But again, a lot of players right now are back on that grind in preparation for Stars Agora.
Oh, yeah. We'll be getting into that after we talk about the update from our next event. The Wardy TV Boomer Bash, and it happened again, Light. It happened again. The player we had no faith in now actually has made it all the way to the grand finals, beating even the player who we were hyped about, who we've been hyping the results about. Lambo not only makes it out of his group, he also beats Showtime 3-1. He beats Solar 3-0, and he would have beaten the Hero 4-0 as well, if not for the fact that the finals had to be postponed. So yeah, the finals have not played out yet.
I'll be honest, I thought this already finished. So yeah, the finals have not played out.
Ordinarily, it would be finished, but special extenuating circumstances. So
for sure. So first things first, I believe last time we had the podcast, I think Group C was underway, right? I think it was in the middle of Group C.
Group C was underway.
Mm-hmm. In the end, it was Hero and Sola to make it out of Group C. If I recall correctly, just like the Rex March Madness, you and we did not have much faith in Lambo making out of the group. I think we both had high expectations of Classic. I think I may have even gone for Mana even. And both Classic and Mana, they had some...
100%.
Okay, there you go. I think I may have gone Bunny Mana. But Mana and Classic, they did not make it out of the groups. Lambo popping off. Very, very strong performance here.
Yeah, I mean,
actually, it was almost a 3-way tie,
and then almost, but it came down to
map score.
Wait, let me try to get my math correct. Yeah, it came down to the map score. But Classic didn't beat Lambo, but Lambo, he was able to beat Mana 2-0, and from there, because he also took a game off of Bunny, was able to barely scrape by compared to Classic and Mana, who both, I believe, lost. Yeah, both of them. Well, wait, math.
Yeah, it was close. It was close. It was actually pretty damn close. Okay. Like as you were mentioning, basically Classic, Lambo, and Mana, they all won once. But the series that Classic won. Yeah, but the series that Classic won, it was a 2-1. It was a 2-1 scoreline. Yep. The series that Mana won was 2-1, and the series that Lambo won was 2-0. So like Lambo, he had overall like just a better winning scoreline, and that allowed Lambo to secure himself. As I say secure himself, it was still very close, very close and very clutch between Lambo, Mana, and Classic. He barely made it out, and that led to his performances here. I want to see what happened, but yeah. Lambo taking down Showtime and Solar, that is crazy. Like those are insane results.
Yeah, honestly, if you just looked at the group result and you were like, okay, Lambo, he barely made it through, but I mean, he's not gonna make it far in the playoffs, right? And then all of a sudden he beats Showtime, and it's like, oh, that's a good result. And all of a sudden he 3-0 Solar, and you're like, oh, Lambo is on fire right now. He is a flaming engine, and he's going vroom. He's going zoom even.
Yeah, he's going full Rambo.
Yeah.
Let's go. So yeah, I'm very shocked and very surprised by these results. But yeah, Lambo, he's in the finals against Hero. As you mentioned, the finals are postponed. Apparently, I didn't know this, but Lambo, he is traveling to South Korea.
Yeah.
I guess this. Yeah, I guess he heard about, Sugar's like Tiger Mom tendencies, and he wants some of that action. So Trigger, he's getting that whip ready, and he is getting ready to whip Lambo into shape. Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Lambo trying to be less of a degen, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it worked on Clem. As you mentioned, Clem, he doesn't play in the Big Star Mondays anymore. Like, he's he's been whipped into shape, He's got his bedtime. So, yeah, it's really cool to see Lambo popping off here. This is a sight to behold. This is, like, pretty similar, I guess, to Showtime's run earlier. We just didn't expect Showtime to pop off the way that he did. Same with Lambo here as well. Very impressive.
Yeah. Both of them facing off against Hero in their finals, but we'll see if Lambo can do what Showtime was unable to in the Wardy Monday.
Yeah, I mean, Germany's spiking up, right? Showtime, Lambo. We were giving praise to Big Gabe earlier. Maybe a sign of things to come. Yeah. Roddy, Basilisk, get those bouts going for Germany. Just saying.
Get the Germans versus the world here,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think
if you need somebody in that amateur slot, we know a few.
Yeah. Phoenix.
Steel.
He's not German. What are you talking about? God damn it.
Steel insists that he is German.
Okay,
No,
Steel.
Steel officially has German citizenship. That is true.
Okay. There you go. Get him in. Get him in.
Yeah.
But yeah, we will notify you, and I don't think there's a set date yet for the finals of the Boomer Bash, but once we have confirmation, we will be all over that, so look forward to the finale of that bash.
Do I want to hype up Lambo now? Because I
True,
feel like
predictions.
I want Lambo to win, obviously, but I feel like every time we hype up a player who we had no faith in previously, that's when it starts to fall apart a bit. So, do I want to hype up Lambo? I want him to win.
I mean, I think we're all on board, right? Like, I think we want Lambo to win. I think our heads scream Hero, but our heads would have also said Solar as well, and Showtime. So
our heads are wrong. We gotta throw him away.
Oh, true. Bearing in mind, Lambo apparently traveling to Korea. He might play from Korea, which means ping won't be a factor, and there's going to be more even playing field.
I feel like that would benefit Hero more, though.
It probably would, but
Hero is much more of a micro focused player.
I feel like it would, but yeah.
But
it's
you know
just
what?
Like...
I said I think that would benefit Hero better, but thinking has been proven wrong this entire time by Lambo. So
okay.
But me reasoning that is also thinking. So
okay. So where does that lead you, Yaku? Where does it lead you?
4-0.
What?
Favor Lambo. Let's go.
Okay.
I'm on board now.
I believe that Lambo can make this a series. I believe Hero's gonna take it, but I want to believe like 4-2. 4-2 kind of is where I'm settling into. But I would be pleasantly surprised. Very happy to see Lambo taking down Hero. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if he pops off. I mean, clearly, like he's back on that horse, back on that grind. I know he's been taking some time off, as we mentioned. I think even Lambo mentioned in his video actually about how he's very much so a motivation-based player in the sense that he needs an event to motivate him to practice and improve. And hey, Stars Agora might be the thing.
Yeah,
might be.
I thought you were gonna say the Boomer Bash. Obviously, that's where the motivation has lied in. So
True. But you get rid of Clem, you get rid of Rainer, you get rid of the Zoomers, and suddenly, hey, Lambo is looking young again. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's actually on the younger end of the participants here. 1995, which is just 1 year away from the cutoff.
I still feel like they should have gotten rid of all the 28 and 29-year-olds, but sure. I mean, well, that's sure,
Yeah,
sure.
should have made it an even. Should have made it an even
Yeah, just
94.
yeah, an even 3-0. Even 3-0.
Yeah,
But
an even 3-0,
regardless,
like what Lambo did to Solar.
exactly. That's a sign. That's a sign.
The sign. Hey, what Lambo? He's gonna be 3-0 this year, so.
Yeah. It's gonna be up 3-0 against Hero, and then then the 4-3 comes in. Oh no. We'll see. Again, best of luck to Lambert. Best of luck. As that leads us into our next event, that leads us into the Bellum Gens Elite Sarzagora Europe qualifier. We were alluding to it earlier, and I'm curious to see who does make it through, as the bracket was massive. And oh my god,
it was
results that I was not expecting.
Yeah, and here's where I have to wonder a little bit what the rationale behind this was, because the bracket is massive, obviously, but it's all single elim.
Yeah. I mean, for the most part, so it looks like there was double elimination specifically for the qualifying matches. But I agree. It's kind of weird not to see a double elimination here. So that is even more brutal when it comes to the overall format. In the end, young Yakov, sometimes dubbed as old Yakov, takes down Diego 2-0, takes down Lambo 2-1, and out of all players to qualify for the event, young Yakov is going to be one of them.
Yeah, big surprising results here coming up from Yakov. I mean, young Yakov even taking out Lambo at the Boomer, so maybe the time, or where am I going with this?
Well, this is what happens when you let the young boys play. That's the thing.
Exactly, yeah.
Aye. So, young Yakov is the first to qualify. Scrolling down, we have Skillus. Skillus takes down Art, takes down Zebestis, and Skillus also qualifies for the main event. Scrolling down, Harstem. Harstem takes down Baymarine. Harstem takes down Jumi. That's a big win for Harstem, I would say.
Harstem is, as a matter of fact, the #1 seed coming out of this qualifier, because they do still play for seeding, even after they've already qualified.
Yeah, a bunch of best of ones for seeding, but I mean #1 in the end, so big win there for Harstem, coming out as the #1 seed. And we have Spirit. Spirit takes down Shameless, takes down Geralt, and Spirit also qualifies for the main event. Scrolling down, we did have that final qualifying match, kind of like a loser's match here.
Bit of a wild card,
Yeah, like a wild card qualifier. Lambo takes on Zebestis, Geralt takes down Jumi, big win for Geralt, and Lambo takes on Geralt in a best of 3. I just realized all of these are best of 3s, not a single best of 5.
Yeah. Which I guess might have been done for time. I mean, this is all done for a single day, but again, it seems kind of weird to have it like this for a qualifier.
Yeah, I would agree. I think, as you mentioned, like having double elimination for something like this is a little bit more standard, just to make it less unforgiving. Considering this is a big offline event as well. Like there's a lot on the line for these players. Regardless, GG, well played. With that, we have our confirmed invited players. Now we still have the Balkan qualifier coming up next. There's still one more player to add, but for the most part, we have our lineups here. And yeah, Showtime was invited. So Showtime, he's going to get involved. Clem was invited, Rainer and Cyril, of course. So we have some of the best Terran and Protoss players in Europe that are going to be trekking on over.
No, I was just going to say, my memory was faulty. I assumed that Showtime wasn't invited, but he was.
Yeah. So Showtime was invited. Clem, Rainer, and Cyril from the Americas qualified. We had Trigger and Future against some solid players from the Americas. If you recall, we were expressing some concern because Australia did not take part in the qualifiers. So we don't know what's happening there. We don't know if he is taking a break. We don't know if he is silently retiring. So that is something to...
He's going to be the Balkan qualified player.
Exactly. Yeah. He is from the Balkans. Can confirm. Yeah.
He's from that, he's from that region of the Balkans. It's called
it was
California.
It was actually retconned in a new edition of the Max Angel. Yeah, Chronicles.
Yeah, continuity. When they rebooted them, they reset the universe. They changed the timeline.
Yeah. there was a crisis flashpoint.
Yeah.
At a certain point there, and
He went back in time,
Australia.
you know.
He went back in time. Yeah.
and he broke the universe.
He did break the universe. And
All of a
suddenly,
sudden, Trigger is no longer like whipping everybody into shape. Instead, he's like staying alive. Mio Micah is no longer a punished
Cat.
or old cat. Yeah, he's now a cat pirate.
There you go.
Or something.
There you go.
He's
It's a controversial retcon, is what I will say.
Yeah.
It's very controversial.
It led to a reboot series that people are very 50-50 on. People didn't really. They weren't really sure if they liked the changes.
New,
in fact,
new 52, if you will.
In fact, 52 new episodes, which in fact was so controversial that at the end of it, they had to reboot it again to what it originally was. And I believe that the explanation used here was that Dr. Marutin, that's what we're going with, Dr. Marutin, decided to reboot it.
Yeah, but you know what I will say though, it's pretty cool that they got like Dr. Marutin involved because you know what, I sometimes I forget that he's part of the universe.
Yeah,
just doesn't play enough.
Just doesn't play enough. So, but he's always watching apparently, and he's always there.
Apparently.
So he's always in the back of the mind. Should have gone with Dr. MMA.
Okay, there you go.
That would have made more sense.
I agree. That would have made more sense.
All right.
That was a deep DC cut. That's good. As from there, from the Asia qualifier, we had Zan, Maru, Young, and Rex. And from Europe, we have Harsum, Skill, Spirit, Lambert, and Young Yakov. Again, a solid lineup here.
A solid lineup here, and I think the question to be asked is, who do you think the Balkan player is going to be? Assuming it's not Australia.
Assuming it's not Australia here, I mean, I want to say, hold on, because there is one that comes to mind, like one clear player that stands above all,
Nayed,
if you will. Yeah, Nayed. I would assume, from what I know, I think he's the best player from the region. But I also haven't been keeping up too much with the weeklies that they've been hosting. So that's what I'm going for now.
That's what you're going for. You didn't name a player.
Nayed. Yeah, and I said Nayed. Yeah.
Okay,
Nayed.
Yeah,
Okay,
Nayed. You got Nitix from the Balkan. From
True,
Bulgaria
Nitix.
as well. Nitix.
No, yeah, I think that
I might
of
Nitix, actually.
I might have been thinking of Nitix as well.
Is Hungary in the Balkans? It has to be, right? Because Nayed is from Hungary, right? Or am I thinking of someone else?
I don't think Hungary counts as the Balkans. Even though it's towards the south, I don't think it's included.
Well, is Nayed from Hungary?
No, I don't think so.
Where is he from?
I think we just confused his name for Nitix. I think. But he is from Hungary. Yes, Nayed. He is from Hungary.
No, okay, all right.
I didn't.
Yeah. There's a Bulgarian player called Captain Fingers.
Oh, Captain Fingers versus Captain Fish. Fish Fingers.
Mate, that's crazy. We need to make them a 2v2 team.
We do. We gotta Archon them.
Yeah, we need that. We need to make that happen. Oh my god. But yes, I look forward to the remaining qualifier, and again, it's going to be an amazing tournament as well. When it comes to any missing players, we are missing some of the Koreans. If you recall, the Asia qualifier was a lot smaller. A lot of the other Koreans did not partake, so we're missing players like Hero, missing players like Solar, unfortunately, but still strong lineups nonetheless. And yeah, I'm sure it's going to be an amazing tournament.
Yeah, it's one of those where. Or just as a reminder, a big reason why there were missing signups for the Asia qualifier is that they did mention that Bellum Gens Elite, they are going to be able to pay for accommodation and they are going to be able to pay for like stay, but the ticket itself is a little bit too. That is something that the players will have to figure out. And the fact of the matter is, in Korea, there are a lot of teamless players right now, so yeah, it will be
Yes,
difficult for
yes.
them.
So as Jakub mentioned, they're not paying for flights, so that is something that did deter some players from taking part. As you mentioned, they're paying for, of course, prize pool and accommodations and travel within the area as well. But flights are something that is not being covered. So because of that, that's why you might be seeing some players missing. When it comes to the European side of things, I would say that Gabe was missing, right? Like Gabe, he did not take part. Even though we've seen him be a little bit more active, would have been great to have seen Gabe in the qualifiers. But I think those are all the ones that come to mind, at least initially. It's like Solar, Hero, Gabe. Outside of that, we have more or less everyone involved.
Yeah. The usual suspects, Showtime, Clem, Raynor, Cyril. Would have had Oliveira if he didn't retire, but yeah. Trigger,
Yeah.
Future from NA, Zound. Zound's a little bit of a wild card, to be honest. Zound and Rex. I guess there are two kind of wild cards coming in here, two players who you wouldn't necessarily expect to make it to a big offline event, but I'm not opposed either. I mean,
Yeah,
they're able to pay their way to get there, so might as well.
I'm all for it. I am all for it. And that leads us into our final event. That leads us into the Warrior TV Spring Championship 2025. We did mention that a lot of players have been seeded in via the Open Cups, and this is just confirming that here. Not just that, but we did have an official qualifier. So there was qualifier number 1. We have the challenge bracket for that, for players that didn't make it through the weekly qualification spots instead. And I believe we had top 2 making it through qualifier number 1.
Indeed, we did. Zound and Shin did take it in the end. Shin beating Ryung and Zound beating Creator.
Yeah, nice wins there for Shin and Zound. So they will be a part of the Warrior TV Spring Championship. And we do have 3 more qualifiers. It's going to be qualifier 2, 3, and 4 also coming up. Now, I don't believe there are any restrictions. I believe they are open to anyone. So players from Europe, players from the Americas, players from Korea can all get involved. So there's still a lot of potential to kind of have some of these extra players get into these matches here. Players like Jumi, Yang Yakov, and many more. So it's going to be a big event. It's going to be a big event. A lot of players, a lot of competitors.
My favorite thing here is that the slots for 3 and 4 are still to be determined, and the reason for that, of course, is because there's still, I think, 1 or 2 more Wardy TV Mondays that are still going to be giving qualifier slots. So if the same people make it to the top 4, that means they're going to have to expand the slots for the last 2 qualifiers.
Yeah, so because that the qualifiers are a little bit messy, just because of that fact that we're getting a bunch of repeats in the Open Cups, but we'll get there in the end, and I'm sure we'll get those qualified players. Regardless, that is going to be the next big event to look forward to. Based on the
Bless you.
Thank you. Based on the scheduling here, by the time we get our next PondCast, it looks like we're going to be halfway through the group stage. So we can't do any predictions yet, but for the next PondCast, we'll have some predictions.
Yeah.
We'll be able to catch up on what's been happening in Group A and Group B, and then we'll have some predictions for Group C and D, at least in Group Stage 1. I just realized there are layers to this. Gee, how big is this event? There's Group Stage 1, Group Stage 2, and the playoffs as well. Oh my god.
Yeah. There's some players directly seeded into Group Stage 2 already, so...
Yeah, it's a very large event. It's going to last all month, all of April, so... Yeah, look forward to it. Look forward to April, as there's going to be plenty of StarCraft going on alongside the regular Open Cup weeklies. We have the Spring Championship as well.
Yeah. So stay tuned. It's going to be over on Wardy's channel.
There you go. And with that, we are going to be wrapping up. That was our final event to go over here. Up next, if you want to tune into, if you want to sign up for any of these tournaments, a lot of them are open to all regions, all shapes, all sizes. Some of them are limited, but you'll be able to sign up nonetheless, or see those limitations over on the sign up list. ! Sign up list, or sign up in the chat. You'll get a link to the page where we have links, and we have additional links as well to all of these open sign up pages.
Yeah, take a look around, see what's going on, see what the restrictions are, and sign up if any of them do catch your interest. It's a lot of fun.
Exactly. Yeah, we have the World TV Spring Championship qualifier number 2. We have the Balkan qualifier. We have KSL, SDO, Sunrise Cup, StarCraft Evolution League. There's plenty of tournaments to sign up for, so do check out that sign up list. All the information is there for you in one place. Shout out to Kuro. Kuro does make sure that stays up to date on a regular basis to make sure that you have all those signups available to you.
Indeed. I've got quite a few here.
Oh, yeah. Do have quite a few.
Let me
Likewise, if you want to
say-
help support the CranKy.
Let me say, this will be a busy weekend. There are a lot of tournaments this weekend, so do check it out.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. A lot of tournaments this weekend, so do tune in. Meanwhile, if you want to support the CranKy Ducklings, you can do so via the PondCast, via the Patreon, Patreon in the chat, and you can help support the CranKy Ducklings here. We do actually host events on a regular basis. We host Sparkling Tuna Cup every week, Sea Duckling Open every month, and Masters One Open every month as well. And it is all funded and supported via Patreon.
Indeed. And we've actually just hit our stretch goal. So from the month of April moving forward, we're going to be having expanded prize pools in all of our tournaments. The one that I'm excited for is expanded prize pools in our amateur events, which of course means we're going to be able to host them on the Liquipedia main space page.
Yes. After years of hosting our tournaments, finally we can move them over to the main space. So big moment here for the CranKy Ducklings, for our amateur events, I mean. So we are going to be moving them over coming into this weekend and the rest of April. If we can maintain our current amount on Patreon, then we can of course keep this going throughout the rest of the year. And our next goal is to boost the prize pool even further of Sparkling Tuna Cup. The next big stretch goal that we had already reached for Sparkling Tuna Cup for this month is that top 4 get paid. Initially, it was only ever top 2, but now top 4 also get paid out. So big milestones here for the CranKy Ducklings. And thank you so much to all of our patrons. Thank you so much for all the support. Thank you.
Heart.
Yeah. It's it's fine. So yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for all our patrons. Thank you so much for all the support. Whether you're subscribing on Twitch, there you go. Whether you're subscribing on Twitch, subscribing on YouTube, or becoming a patron, or even just watching, our content, even just watching our shows. Thank you so much for all the support. It all goes a long way, and we've been growing quite a lot over the past year. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. I mean, great to see that there is a lot of grassroots support coming in as well. I mean, even that's kind of been the theme, right? Ever since the end of the esports World Cup, that's what we've been covering a lot of in all these podcasts. And yeah, we ourselves here at the CranKy Ducklings, we're glad to be recipients of that, or on the living end of that as well.
100%. So we do appreciate all the support. With that is going to be wrapping us up here for the week, or for this episode of the podcast. Our next broadcast is going to be in 11 hours. In 11 hours time, we're going to be live with the Kung Fu Cup number 5 StarCraft Evolution editions. That's going to be in 11 hours. Likewise, over the weekend, we have KSL. We have the KSL, we have SDO, we have Hatchery Cup, and Sparkling Tuna Cup as well.
I wish I wasn't DJing this week.
God damn it. Fun fact, next week we have the...
I feel like I'm obligated to play in this SEO because, like I said, this is going to be the first one that's on the Liquipedia main space page, but at the same time, I'm like, I'm not going to be awake for that.
God damn it, Yaku. God damn it. If you happen to be awake for it, then it's going to be a great time, I'm sure. I mean, you got to be there for your random raffle, mate.
True.
The raffle.
Well, no, I have to be there, and I have to play in the first round, and then I have to not be there when the raffle is being called, because that's what works for me. I found out.
That's when you sleep.
That's how I want it. That's how I sleep. Okay. I'll play my first round, and then I'll go to bench.
There you go. What if you win? What if you make it to the finals?
Oh. Oh no.
Oh no. So again, do tune into our broadcast throughout the week. We have plenty of content out there for you. If you cannot watch it live, then check us out over on YouTube. !socials or !YouTube in the chat, and you'll get a link to our YouTube channel where we do upload on a daily basis of plenty of content. Again, if you cannot watch it live, then YouTube is the place to be.
Yeah. It's just, you know, go over to YouTube. Go over to you go over to the streaming platform. You go over to Kick. You go over to TikTok. You go over to Facebook Live. We're live on all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
Go over to AOL.
Heading over to I was gonna say Skype. Skype is shut down, right? Am I crazy?
Skype is Skype is shutting down. They're like integrating it into Microsoft Teams, if I remember correctly.
There you go. So don't look for us on Skype, because that's not going to be a thing
anymore. Look for us on Microsoft Teams instead.
There you go.
On Zoom, on stuff, which I actually found a fun fact. WhatsApp, WeChat, Line. I actually found a fun fact recently. Apparently the founder of Zoom asked Total Biscuit for advice, and Total Biscuit just basically told him, like, okay, here's all the issues of Skype that we've had doing podcasts. Make your thing better.
There you go. And where's Skype now?
Yeah. They got bought out by Microsoft. I think they're doing pretty good.
Yeah,
or I think the people who made Skype are doing pretty good.
Yeah. They're not there anymore, but
like they finally managed. Now they can pass off the blame.
There you go.
And they got paid for it. So,
regardless, thank you all for tuning in. Thank you for watching. Yaku, where can we find more of you? Once again, I asked the age-old question: Brood War stream when?
Try to do it next week, I think. Since I'm in the middle of DJing, I think we'll try to get it done next week.
Yeah, there you go. Again, you're like 2/3 of the way through, right? Like you're there's just Protoss left.
It's just Protoss left for the vanilla campaign. I don't know when I'm gonna touch the Brood War campaign.
Yeah.
that apparently is gonna be tough. Gotta be real. I say this all the time. I'm also just not really looking forward to doing the Protoss campaign. If I'm being honest, I've been told that it's the hardest one, and I've already struggled in the Terran and Zerg one, so I'm like,
you can overcome. I believe in you. You can overcome. You can persevere. I believe in the power of the Yaku. Yeah, you get there. But yeah, so you can check out Yaku's stream over at !Yaku in the chat. Likewise, you can follow myself, LatinSquare VIP. I did stream earlier today, and I do try to stream whenever I can. Should be streaming some Final Fantasy tomorrow. I stream ladder sessions whenever I'm available. Don't get to do it too often, but every now and then we stream some ladder.
Yeah, speaking of which, I guess I'm reinstalling Final Fantasy 14 now.
Let's go.
Light told me to reinstall Final Fantasy 14 before today's broadcast, so I guess I'm doing that now.
Yeah, there you go. Beautiful. You can come back to the cat boys and to the kangaroo people.
I get my pug back. Yeah,
you can get your pug back. But otherwise, thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. Big shout out to Kuro as well for handling the production side of things and making sure everything runs smoothly. And we'll see you guys next week for the next episode of the PondCast.
Yeah, we'll see you then.
Ciao.
Bella. Do I remember my login details?